Right up the gut. What a ball that is. Messi on the turn. Options either side. Lionel Messi! There's your goal! There's more history! There's the Magic Man again! Messi, incidentally, last fall was credited with breaking the all-time international record for assists as well. For all the goals that he scored, he's got an awful lot of assists as well as he clips that in. Gonzalez going to get there, fires it in, looking for Julian Alvarez. Clearance only as far as Alexis McAllister that decks it all. The save! The rebound is Messi's second goal! He might end the night as the World Cup's all-time top goal scorer. Messi with 2, Argentina with 2. Total control from the defending champions. Going to find Dick Hall in a little pocket of space. Julian Alvarez running outside. Messi running inside. Back out it goes. Nico Gonzalez. Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi! First career World Cup hat-trick. Ties the all-time goal-scoring record.
Wednesday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours we've got you. Man, a lot of stuff to get into and talk about today. We will talk about last night's historic night here in Kansas City. We will discuss some NFL football, some college football to NFL football. Matt Verderam will join us coming up at noon from Sports Illustrated and the Matt Verderam Show. Also, longtime suffering New York Knicks fan. So we will congratulate him on the Knicks NBA Finals victory. We will hang out with Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. That'll come up in the 1 o'clock hour with Mick Schaefer. We'll talk a little Royals in the first couple of hours at some point with Jeff Passan and ESPN putting out the top 100 trade candidates in Major League Baseball. How many and where do the Royals show up in the top 100? Which I think gives a pretty decent indication of what the trade deadline could look like and the precarious position that J.J. Piccolo finds himself in. The precarious position Piccolo ponders.
Hey, at least we have this much.
Yeah, an alliteration.
Well, I love alliteration.
Yes.
The players, we said, can make the decision of what the Royals do at the deadline. Well, now they've told you.
Exactly.
They've made that decision clear.
Officially the worst team in the American League. They officially have the worst record and the worst run differential in the American League now. Second worst record in all of baseball. Third worst run differential in all of baseball. So the decision has been made. But the situation they're in is that they do not have a Skubal or Joe Ryan or Alcantara or Detmers, Jose Soriano. I'm trying to think of just Sonny Gray, just different names that are coming to mind of teams that may be struggling that have maybe a more decent trade chip of a starting pitcher or a Byron Buxton for the Twins, a position player that you could move and maybe get something decent in return for a team or teams that may be desperate. So we'll talk about that at some point. I do wonder when it comes to the Chiefs this year with Rashee Rice and the healthy knee that it looked like when he was running was that a 7 route? Was it a 6?
Does he a jump cut in there?
Yeah.
Getting off the line of scrimmage was nice. He got off the line.
Yeah, but it is unfortunate. Against a reporter, he still didn't gain enough separation. I would have liked to see a little more separation when that guy isn't even that good of a defensive back, and you don't gain that much separation.
That guy, although he played at LSU, he was a good corner.
Yards after the run,
his yak ability.
The car got going, okay? So that was good. But I do want to compare it to and wonder if 2026 wide receiver room will look like, or we will discuss at the end of the season, a 2025 positional group that we thought would be different last offseason that turned out to be foolishness and naivety. We'll discuss that with the Kansas City Chiefs and the connection with Rashee Rice. Jeremy Fowler was on with New Day this morning, and he gave the latest on Rashee Rice and the injury and the intel he has and what it may mean for the NFL and if there is a potential suspension looming for Rashee Rice and when that suspension may take place if that is the case. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. 913-912-4810 text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. Last night, an absolutely historic night in Kansas City, and the videos have been so amazing to see. The videos of the Fan Fest, Power and Light, obviously there at Arrowhead Stadium. The videos we've seen from fans. Todd Lebo's wife. Did you see that video?
Incredible.
Todd Lebo's wife has video as clear as it's going to get of Messi's third goal, the hat trick. And they're on sort of like what would be the end zone. Not the end zone view, but the sideline looking directly down as if they would be, perpendicular to the goal. And you see Messi making the run. And the video is clear. It's not bouncing around. It's stable. The goal goes in, the hat trick, he's running over it. Like, it's perfect. And some of those videos coming out of the Argentina fans during the game, after the game, Jameis Winston at Power and Light.
Dude.
Like, yesterday was a huge soccer party in Kansas City, and it is not a party. And I think a lot of people have said the same thing, and it's just sort of echoing the same sentiment from different perspectives and sensibilities and history and past and experiences that they've had. It was a party yesterday, an experience that I didn't think Kansas City would ever be viewed as growing up. I remember going out to Arrowhead to watch a Wizards game and being in the stadium for a Wizards game. And it was boring. Like, I wasn't a big soccer fan, and there was no atmosphere, and I think the tickets might have been free. I'm not sure. I don't remember paying anything for them. But I remember the experience for some reason. There are a lot of sporting events I've gone to that I don't remember, and that just goes into the ether of your past. This one I remember, but I don't remember it. It's not that I remember it for a specific amazing event. The reason I remember it is looking around going, how long is this going to last in Kansas City? Like, how many more years are we going to keep doing this before we decide that this is not working? Is the MLS going to fold soon? Like, because this is just not a fun atmosphere at all. And local soccer with the Wizards at Arrowhead Stadium was not something that had sustainability. It's why they needed to, build their own soccer-specific stadium so that there was a better atmosphere. Obviously, you needed to be better and things like that, but there's no way I could have pictured in 1990 at Arrowhead Stadium watching that Wizards game what the party was like around Kansas City last night with the revitalization of downtown and the World War I Museum and Power and Light, and then obviously at Arrowhead Stadium, and being what was the soccer-centric eyes of the world in Kansas City, yes, on Messi, and Messi needing to do what he did to create the connection, but forever, Messi's first World Cup hat trick, and maybe his best World Cup performance, in which he broke the record for World Cup, different World Cups that he has played in 6, and the record for goals scored in a World Cup, and a hat trick, will always be connected to Kansas City.
It's just incredible that Kansas City has become, as you're mentioning and alluding to, it's in the same breath, at least for this tournament, as L.A., New York, Kansas City. It's badass. I'll give Nate Bukaty a ton of credit. I've been reading his book. Yes, Nate, I finally started reading your book.
You finally started reading.
It's very good, and it goes along the lines early on of the Wizards days and why soccer had such a hard time, and obviously Lamar Hunt and his dream, his vision, and the change, and how we got to where we're at, how Kansas City is a host for this, how they landed Messi in Argentina in Kansas City, and it's just such a prideful thing. Like, I have so much pride, civic pride in Kansas City. And nothing's ever going to be perfect. I know the lines and the parking, but that's what happens when you have something of this magnitude. This is unique. They know how to operate for Chiefs games.
Yeah.
FIFA's different.
Yeah.
FIFA has their own rules and regulations. And seeing the fans after the game, seeing the fans do interviews prior to the game and applaud Kansas City, you just get this civic pride that courses through your veins. I am so enamored as a non-big soccer guy. I've never been this into soccer in my entire life. And it's because we're witnessing this in front of us.
Well, more people across the world, more eyeballs were on that game last night in Kansas City than a Super Bowl. If you're talking about worldwide watching the World Cup, more people, if you look at whatever the ratings across the world would be, more people were watching that than would have watched a Super Bowl. And that's here in Kansas City with Messi doing something he's literally never done in all of the matches he's played in now his 6th World Cup. It's never happened. And quite literally the luck of the draw that Argentina and that group and playing in Kansas City for his first World Cup match of the 2026 World Cup and basing their home base in Kansas City, the quite literal luck of the draw that happened, that Kansas City was in that position, and then that happens last night on that stage, and he puts together that absolutely brilliant performance, and it will go down in the history of Arrowhead Stadium as, you know, one of the great moments in that stadium's history of so many amazing moments that have taken place in that building, on that grass, on that pitch, that turf, that field. And Messi now is there in the collective group of amazing things that have taken place in that historic building.
Another part that's pretty interesting yesterday, which shouldn't be a massive surprise, but yesterday actually eclipsed the all-time daily record of attendance for 4 matches in World Cup history. And Kansas City's part of it. They were number 2.
And the Stars performed in those matches, too, which is pretty badass.
You're right, because France, Senegal, that was the most. That was nearly 81,000. But 69,000 at Arrowhead.
Yes.
Is what it was. That was the second most. I mean, they surpassed the all-time World Cup attendance record for a day. And I get it. It's the United States. The last one was actually in 94 in the United States just because the stadiums and the size and all of that. But I think that also adds to the mystique.
Yes, because still, you realize the most attended World Cup in World Cup history is still 1994 U.S.
Correct. 3.5 mil.
Yes.
And this is supposed to shatter
And the
that.
most attended per game, per match, the average attendance, because there have been a different number of matches. And that's what's amazing is that there are more matches in the World Cups since 1994, yet it's still the largest attended overall World Cup with fewer matches. And this, you're right, I think will shatter the 1994 record of attendance for the World Cup, because all of the consternation and hand-wringing over this is not going to be well attended. It's going to be a disaster. Nobody's going to be there. FanFest is going to be vacant. Nobody wants to come to the United States with what's going on. Nobody's going to buy the tickets for the price that they are going for. You got to deal with getting to Arrowhead. Everything's spread out in Kansas City. There's no real easy public transit, even though there's the $15 shuttles and the buses, and there's probably a lot to learn from last night's match that they can hopefully fix before the 20th. But all of that disaster, failure was put to rest, at least for one historic day, when downtown throughout was packed. You had Jameis Winston walking around with an actual live goat in Kansas City's downtown. You had FIFA Fan Fest that was the sea of blue and the sea of red that we've seen in the past for parades, and maybe more the sea of blue because of how beautiful that day was. And it had been the first time, in a couple of years since Kansas City won a championship with Sporting, but the first time in 30 years that you had a World Series in Kansas City. And no, it was not to that level, but the view from the TV, the video board of FanFest out towards the lawn is just unreal. And the celebrations and, Messi scoring, all of that. For one particular night, all of the doom and gloom was put to rest, and it was just simply a citywide, nationwide for Argentina, worldwide for Messi and World Cup fans party that centered around our humble little town in Kansas City.
And I pushed back hard on the stuff that came out about the hotels and it's down. You know me, I think a lot of that was just almost fear-mongering. And maybe you think I'm wrong here, but I think a lot of that is, hey, if we do this, we're going to get some clicks, people will talk about it, and look at that. I'm not saying it was disingenuous, but it did seem like there was a narrative that was trying to be pushed. I thought it was unfair, personally, and we're seeing the results of why. Yeah. I thought it was an unfair comparison. The great thing about Kansas City is the pitch itself. They're not doing what's going on in New York and New Jersey where the players are lambasting and just ripping on the fact that it feels artificial, which shout out New York, New Jersey, which people have been saying that forever.
Well, thank God the championship of the World Cup is going to be played in that stale
They don't even know what state they're in. I guess I can't say that because Kansas City.
People don't really.
Yeah, I can't really.
Those visiting right now are
confused.
I'm at Joe's at Kansas City, Missouri. No,
but I will also point about FanFest real quick. If anyone has, because again, I was doing stage work there. It was so much fun. And there's a lot of people on that main lawn. I don't think people realize how big and wide the FanFest goes. That's just the main stage. There is an entire other section full of TVs that are also playing the game, like 3 massive screens, just massive. So when you see that and you're like, oh, does it look a little sparse? The answer is no. There's so many different areas that they have at FanFest. The main stage is just where they have the cameras. But that thing is wide, and there are so many other areas to watch that I don't think it fully captures how the scope of the amount of people at these FIFA FanFests. Just wanted to make sure I point that out, because if you see people say it looks a little sparse, that's just because the place is massive and there's other viewing opportunities that are not being shown.
You know what I cannot wait for is, Sterling, a week from tomorrow. And you don't ever want to let me fast forward to, you don't want to go past what could be, another great day on the 20th with Ecuador and Curacao playing. But a week from tomorrow, we're going to be down at FanFest. You know it's taking place starting at 11 o'clock on Thursday, June 25th?
Is it the Netherlands game?
It's the Netherlands Orange Fan Walk.
Yeah.
We'll start at 11 o'clock from Power and Light to the FanFest. If you've seen the videos of the Netherlands fans march, now they marched to Dallas State, the Jerry Jones Dome.
Jerry World.
Only
one FIFA didn't change. They said, fine, right. Call it Jerry World.
Fine, it's okay. But it's actually not called Jerry World. Shut up, it's called Jerry World. But next Thursday, we talk about, embracing other countries' cultures and their fans and how they do it. 11 o'clock next Thursday, the Orange March for the Netherlands. The Dutch will start at Power and Light and head to FIFA FanFest, where we'll be at. So we'll get to see the ending of it when everybody's marching to FanFest and overtaking all of FanFest. No, they're not going to be marching to the stadium because you can't do that. That would be pretty interesting down I-70. Just closing off a stretch of I-70 so that I think it's different maybe to close off Grand for, 45 minutes or so, kind of like they had to do with the parade.
I-70, just close that.
Just close it off on their way to the pitch. But that's going to be another scene that, we've seen the videos of, a couple of days ago, again, with the Dutch doing their march to
and USA plays that night as well, and I'll be doing stage work there. If you go to FanFest that day, I'll be wearing red, white, and blue pants shirts.
As you should.
Everything. I got maybe rock some orange for the day. Maybe have a wardrobe change.
Yeah, why not?
Jason.
Why not?
That is going to be such a special day here in Kansas City.
Are they back in L.A. for that one?
The United States?
United States, are they back in L.A. for that 25th?
You were asking questions
Sorry.
that I let me check real quick. Oh shoot, son of a
They're back
biscuit.
in L.A. for their third match.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm trying to
So that would be if they're playing on the 25th, right? That would be
against Turkey. Why is this not?
why isn't it?
It's
Somebody probably knows the answer to that.
son of a gun. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you
Son
doing
of
this
the gun?
to me? I don't know. That seems like a lot of work right now that I can't figure out.
Probably. All right, so we got that going for us.
Which is nice.
It is very nice. But yes,
More of this game.
next
Yeah,
Thursday. Ally. It's going to be an ally.
Inglewood.
Always up to no good. Mike? You wanted to weigh in? Brought a mic to your face? Anything? Nothing?
He just
Anything?
shook his head.
Very
Just
good.
what a historic night for Kansas City. Like,
amazing.
I'm not even the biggest soccer fan, but seeing that history take place, like, whenever you associate Messi in the World Cup and that performance,
And the hat trick.
never done it before, you think of Kansas City. The only negative, in my opinion, and it has nothing to do with the game, is just when you watch it on TV, it's kind of hard to tell that it is Arrowhead, and that's more of a FIFA thing. But you know, when they do show the crowd and then you kind of see the red seats behind them, you get a better idea. But I knew the game was in Kansas City, and I didn't really notice until they did some close-ups of the crowd, and you could see the red seats. But that's the only negative that I could see.
Yeah. So if you're wondering about next week, next Thursday, and maybe wanting to, I don't know, just be around for it, the pre-match party for the Orange Fan Walk will start at the KC Live Power and Light District at 11 o'clock. The march begins at 12:15. So the massive sea of orange will go through downtown to the FIFA Fan Festival from Power and Light. So if you've seen that before, to where it's just an amazing scene, and maybe even just to experience it, you don't have to be a Netherlands fan, just be around. That's going to be pretty awesome. I wish, you know what I'm going to do? Next Thursday, June 25th, at about 11 o'clock Sterling, I'm not going to be able to be on the show till roughly 1. Maybe 11:30. 11:30.
Why
I
don't we
need to be
just
there for the pre-match,
get,
pre-march party.
We carry the stuff, and so we walk while we
Walk
do it
with
live.
them, and we
Yeah.
do interviews like they did with Pacheco and Andrew Tranquil and other Chiefs during the parade. We could do that. Yeah.
It'd be silly not to.
I'd be just hovering over the dump button. I mean, just
Why?
They don't know cuss words.
Yeah, it adds to the ambiance. It adds to the party.
They don't
It adds
know
to the
cuss words.
flavor. Isn't that typically the first thing you learn in other languages, especially if you're a child? I learned this, and
if you put
Don't
a
say that.
microphone in front of somebody's mouth, they're going to say something potentially bad.
potentially, yeah.
I mean,
They-
you
they're-
listen to me 4 hours a day say bad stuff.
Yeah, and that's not even curse words.
I'm always on the
It's
cusp.
just dumbassery. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. Here's something I want to get into today, because I was thinking about this last night as I'm watching the hat trick take place, and there really wasn't much of a thought for me to go to the match last night, because I knew I would be priced out. Whether that be parking or transportation or convenience or, more than anything, money, it probably wasn't in the cards for me. But as I'm watching that take place, all I'm thinking is, man, I wish I would have been there. So I want to know, what are the events? I want to talk about this on the other side. What are the events that, if you had to do it over again, you'd figure out a way to go to and attend, whether it was money or convenience or circumstances that kept you from doing it? You had to be alive for it. So it had to be something that
Wilt's a 100-point game to see if it was
Wish I was
actually
there.
a thing or not.
I wish I was there.
No video.
Yes, I wish I was there at Jackie Robinson's debut. Well, you can't do that. That's not really in the cards. But something you were alive for, something you had a reasonable chance of going to,
Yeah.
but you didn't attend. And now you're looking back going, man, I would have loved to have experienced that, because that's what I'm thinking last night of the FOMO of being at Arrowhead or FanFest or Power and Light, just in general, as opposed to my living room, watching that game, still enjoying it, but not nearly to that level. I want to talk about the different things that may come up of events that you look back on and go, man, give me a do-over and I'd be there.
You want a do-over? Well, we got a little something special for you. On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Oh no, my guy's subbed off. What am I going to do? Oh, baby, FanDuel has you. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. There's your little do-over. Your guy goes out. Well, guess what? Your bet continues with the guy that came in for him. And sometimes that's a positive, because sometimes that means fresh legs. Sometimes that means an extra opportunity to score. So if FanDuel Super Sub, you are in it until the final whistle. For an example, Messi with the hat trick last night, he ended up going out at, what was it, the 87th minute. Well, if the guy that came in for him also scored, boom, would have counted. I don't know why you would have had Messi for 4 goals. That'd be a very, very bold move. But if you were that bold, guess what? You still would have been in it until the final whistle. It is just that simple. That is FanDuel's Super Sub. So make sure you go to FanDuel.com/local to get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, heading up until 2 o'clock. You know, we asked the question. I put it on Twitter as well, and I'll wonder about it when it comes to the text line as well, 913-912-4810. What event would you go back and attend if you had a quote-unquote do-over that you reasonably could have attended, right? I mean, tearing down of the Berlin Wall. No, like a sporting event that you were alive for. You may have even given it a thought of, should I go to this game? But whether it be money or convenience or circumstances, whatever it may be, that you didn't go and decided at that time, no big deal. But then you look back and go, I missed out on that experience that so many people collectively experienced, and you can never replicate that ever again. Messi's hat trick comes to mind for me. Because obviously, every one of us had an opportunity to go. We could have gone to Tickets for Less. We could have bought tickets. You know, people were on social media, you know, offloading some tickets and things like that. Like, you had opportunities to go. And I think about, like, okay, yeah, it was $800. And right now, I'd be feeling the $800 if I spent that on a ticket. And whatever it would have cost to park. Or the issues with getting to the stadium and how much of a nightmare that seemed like until you got there, and potentially missing opening kickoff, things like that. But I have no idea 20 years from now what I would have done with that $800. Now, like the $800 I would have spent last night on a ticket, I don't know where that's going to go over the next, days, months, weeks, whatever. But in 20 years...
beer and golden tea for me.
You,
it
yes.
would have been worth it.
But in 20 years, I would know exactly where that $800 went.
Yeah.
And that was to be at Arrowhead last night. And so I asked that question, and I'll open it up to the text line as well at 913-912-4810. I'll put it in Twitter as well. The game that comes to mind immediately for me, and it won't come to mind for you, Sterling, because you were there, but it is the most obvious one. It is the easiest one.
Yeah.
I wasn't in town, but I could have driven here and gone to the game, because I went to Game 2 of the World Series later on that year. But it's easy. It's the 2014 wild card game. Will always be the one that I wished I had gone. You know what? It's been 30 years since there has been a playoff game at Kauffman. I'm going. Honey, sorry. I got to go see about a baseball game. And I passed along my marriage certificate right to my wife, and I went to the wild card game. The exact opposite of Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. Sorry, honey, I got to go see about Eric Hosmer. And so I would have gone if I could go back, because she was totally cool. Like, the thing is, in 2014, like, we had already been married when that took place. We got married earlier that summer when that took place. But my brother, before Game 2 of the World Series, calls me, and I'm in my office in Louisville, and says, hey, me and Zach are going to get tickets to go to Game 2 of the World Series. I know that, you're there, but I said, let me check real quick and let me call you back. I'd love to go, but let me call my wife. And she's like, go. I'm like, what? She's like, go. Like, oh, you don't even have to ask.
Yeah.
Go. I know what this means to you. I'm like, that's why we got married. Okay. That's why I married you. She's like, go. I know go. So I'm like, calling her brother back. I'm in. I don't care what it costs. I'm in. I'm driving. That was great. Ace was on the mound. It was a great day. Royals won Game 2 of the 2014 World Series against the Giants. It was a cool day. Me, my brother, my nephew taking pictures, being there. I remember so much about that game and that experience, but I remember more about being there with my brother and nephew, even more than some of the moments in the game, right?
Sure.
But I would go back immediately and go to the wild card game if I could take brother, nephew, that same experience to the wild card game, as opposed to Game 2 of the World Series, which was amazing to watch that. But the wild card game is the immediate one.
Yeah, that was the best sporting event I've ever been to. Is me and my dad.
Yeah, I'm jealous that you got anybody that was there. I'm actually jealous of.
And so that was incredible. And so that if I didn't go, that was going to be my number one. But I was lucky enough to go. For me, I think my number one, and it's also the most realistic, which is really funny. I'm going to go golf. I'm going to go a little different. I have a whole bunch of these.
Shocker.
But 2008 U.S. Open, Torrey Pines. My parents and I were in California, and we actually went to Torrey Pines. I want to say maybe it was like a Tuesday. Forget when it was before the round, and we walked the course. Just walked it as they were getting everything ready to go and all that stuff. It was amazing. It was so cool. You're out there at Torrey Pines. Well, little did I know the 2008 U.S. Open was the one where Tiger on one leg, one knee, won that tournament. Not only that, it was the one where they went into an 18-hole playoff against Rocco Mediate.
Yeah.
Full 18 holes, still tied, had to go back the next day for the sudden death. I mean,
but imagine if you had to fly out the night.
Yeah, you're like, I can't say. Like,
well, I wish I could go back and go to that sudden death one.
I have more in here that I'll talk about, but
Yeah.
for me, because this was semi-realistic, because I was actually there in 2008, because I even have the hat. I wish I was smart enough to, at the time, I was 14. My dome must have gotten a little larger because that hat no longer fits me.
You and Barry Bonds.
Yeah, Barry Bonds.
Swelling will do that.
I was just roided up apparently.
He has gotten a big head over the years. Literally, we know that that Sterling's gotten a big head over the years.
But I think for me, this was the most realistic one.
Yeah.
Where I was like there
in the area, in the vicinity.
I walk in the course, and then obviously I think just the culmination of Tiger mediate the entire 18-hole playoff, and then the sudden death. It was just
because there's always the chance of it being a dud.
Correct.
Like there's a chance if you spent $800 to go to the match last night to watch Messi, and he's dealing with a little bit of an injury, and then the 15th minute he goes off the pitch, and it's a 0-0 tie, and you're like, well, it was a World Cup match, that was fun, the experience, but
you go to the COVID you go to the Masters, and it's the COVID one when it's in like November, and you're like I think it was Dustin Johnson. They went like 20 under because it was just it was an easy course, and you're like, oh, that's not really the same.
Yeah.
There are so many different sporting events to choose. I think the one
for you, it's only the last 5 years. So.
Kind of, yeah. The most realistic chance I had at going to this game was the Super Bowl in 2023, so Super Bowl 58. I was a junior in college, had no money, texted Lebo, and I didn't really know Lebo at the time, but I worked at the station doing nights and weekends, producing Wichita and all that kind of fun stuff. And so I shoot Lebo a text. I'm like, what are the odds that I can come help out for the station? And I'll scrape together some money, get a plane ticket, and go. He says yes, so I fly out to Vegas. I spend all the money I have to stay in Vegas and go cover the Chiefs that week. And so I ended up flying out on Friday, but I actually think that Super Bowl 58 might have been more enjoyable to watch than Super Bowl 50 or Super Bowl 54, which is crazy because that was the first one in 50 years, but just with the way that game ended, the storylines going into that game with, all the wide receiver issues and Mahomes playing kind of through injury, I wish I was at that game. And I looked at going to it, but I did not have the money to do it. But I would say Super Bowl 58. And then one that was a little less realistic, I would actually pick 2015 Game 6 of the ALDS. I think that would be...
LCS? Or DS?
ALCS, my bad.
Yeah, the Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays, when Kane scores from first.
Yep.
That would have been the most insane crowd pop of all time. So I'd pick that game too.
That actually was on my list. Was ALCS Game 6 2015 against the Blue Jays to be there in that one. Like I've got a couple from Arrowhead. I got a couple from Kaufman. A couple of others.
I have one at Arrowhead, but it's not Chiefs.
Messy. Oh, I've got one at Arrowhead, and it's not Chiefs either. I know exactly where you're going. I think you and I are on the same page with that. Michael wouldn't want to be there.
I know where you're going.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, man, if you're out there and you are suffering from erectile dysfunction, Heartland Men's Health is here to help. Maybe it happened once, happened twice, laughed it off, no big deal, but it is something that needs to be looked at, taken care of. It's probably not something that will just simply be cured on its own. It is something that is caused by many different underlying conditions, which in turn, that condition can cause depression and arguments and breakups and even contribute to divorce. At Heartland Men's Health, sometimes the toughest thing is just simply to walk through the door and say, let's get this figured out. Maybe you've tried the pills or the herbals and they have failed or they never worked. Well, Heartland Men's Health has treatments that work when that happens. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%. There is no reason to suffer with this going on when Heartland Men's Health has been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. Schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit, it's only $99, and that includes a medical consult with a licensed medical provider, a T and PSA test, and if medically advised, you get a test dose, and if the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit, it's free. If it does, you don't pay a dime. There you go. They have an expert staff with 3 locations to serve you, or I should say, if it does, then you're on your way to figuring things out. If it doesn't work, as I said, you don't pay a dime. It is free. 3 locations, Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, and Jason sent you. 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. 913-912-4810. Some of the text coming in as we talk about the events you wish you could go back and attend. With Messi's hat trick last night at Arrowhead, I wish I could go back and figure out a way to be at that. And we talked about different ones for us and me. The number one is the 2014 wild card. A couple of people on the text line, easy, 2014 wild card. For me, it would be the wild card, my number one as well. Another person says, Game 1, 2015 World Series. Gordon's home run was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Super Bowl 54. And then this says, and I don't know which game this person's talking about, but it says KU versus Missouri 2012. T-Rob.
That was on my list, too.
Block to force OT. That game didn't exist because there wasn't a clean block in 2012 for KU and Mizzou.
There was assault.
Yeah. There was a clean block according to refs that officiate at Allen Fieldhouse.
Are you guys changing the history again?
No, we don't revise history. We
What are you
just
talking about?
We
It's never happened.
We give you the honest,
That's
honest
assault,
facts.
brother.
Just the facts. All right, that's a fact, Jack. Just the facts. On Twitter, Seth Kaiser weighs in and says 2019 AFC Championship. Could have gone, decided against it for a variety of reasons, and now I'm kicking myself. They go to the Super Bowl for the first time in 50 years. That Tennessee Titans game, that pass to Sammy Watkins, as we talked about, that you knew at that point they were going to the Super Bowl.
Kaiser, smart man, because that was also on my list.
Was it? Really?
Yeah.
13 seconds is definitely on my list. 13-second game. I wish I would have gone to, because just what a back and forth tugging at your emotions and heartstrings back and forth, and the euphoria, and also just the depression, the highs and lows, and then the ending that took place, and forever being the 13-second game. That's very high on my list of games. I mean, I was in town, lived here, could have gone, but did not.
Let me take
go.
you back. November 24th, 2007.
Here we go.
80,537 fans rocking in the stands.
Yep. Some would say it was Armageddon.
This isn't a showdown. This is a war. Missouri, 36. Kansas, 28.
And it wasn't even that close. Remember when Missouri was punking them and took their foot off the gas pedal? And then
I don't remember any of this.
He was like, "Oh, let me."
You probably don't. You weren't
Let me
born
try to
yet.
make a comeback, and we're gonna get back into this thing. And then when they actually got back into this thing and had a chance, he turned into Sod Reesing. I remember that. I remember all of that. Armageddon at Arrowhead. I wish I would have gone to that as well.
40 of 49. 3 touchdowns.
Chance McDanielson.
Chase Daniel. Yeah, no, I remember watching this game. I was actually at my friend's house, was a KU fan. We're getting back and forth into it. We're having a little fun. And this was one of those games where you look back and go, my goodness, I wish so bad I would have gone. I did go to one. I actually think I went to 08, the one where Missouri lost.
Is that the one where they were wearing their B uniforms?
It was all I know is I still have the
Kerry Meyer touchdown at the end.
I still have the you got like a souvenir, like a towel or something like that.
Yeah.
Still have that. I got to see what year it was. I think that was the next year though. But yeah, that game in 07 at Arrowhead, because also there was just so much on the line for both teams. KU was undefeated at that point.
Missouri had the one loss. They were 3-4 in the nation. 1 and 2 had lost, so you knew they were number 1 and 2 at that point. The winner of that game would be ranked number 1 in the country coming out of that game. You knew that. It was just, it was a crazy, crazy night.
Going back to that 13-second game, am I the only one that looks at it a little bit with revisionist history and it's like they got heartbroken the next week, so 13 seconds doesn't feel as special?
It doesn't feel as special because of that next week. But being there,
it would have been cool.
Would still be something to where, I was there at that 13-second game. I was kind of like maybe, if the Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowl, the Houston Texans comeback doesn't feel as awesome as it does knowing that they came back from 24 down, they came back from 10 down against the Titans, and they came back from 10 down against the 49ers. See, that was when I was at the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 54 in Miami. Like, I was there for that one. So, but that's one of those to where I wish I could have been like 4 or 5 places at once. At the game, at home with my family, power and light, a lot of places at once. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Let's continue this into this segment, too. I was going to do something different in this segment, but let's continue the conversation we were having in the previous segment, and it was about the historic night from Lionel Messi last night in Kansas City and the forever connection that will be there with Messi's hat trick and him, having the record for goals scored in the World Cup and most number of World Cup tournaments he's played in, and his first ever hat trick, all connected to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. And looking back, there was immediate regret of not doing what I needed to do to be there for the first ever World Cup match in Kansas City. And as we've called it, the literal luck of the draw with Argentina getting to play their first World Cup match, defending champions of the 2026 World Cup in Kansas City with Messi. I wish I would have done what it took to be at that game, because I don't know in 20 years the money that it would have cost to go last night. I have no idea where that money is going to go over the next 2 or 3 months or whatever. But in 20
I know
years,
exactly where mine would have gone, and it would have been worth it to go. I mean,
for you, yes.
Beer, smokes, bourbon, and golden
Yes.
tea. I just maybe touch tunes.
Yes.
You got to go to more sporting events. It'll save your life.
That's right. 9-1. So we're asking other people because we've weighed in, and my ultimate was the 2014 wild card game. We've talked about Game 6 of the ALCS against the Blue Jays, the 13-second game, Armageddon at Arrowhead, are games that have come up. Text comes in, says, John and OP had a chance to go to the KU Orange Bowl in 2008 with some friends. I actually used the words, "No, I'll go the next time they make it."
Oh.
I will too, John. I will too.
Yeah,
I feel for you.
Yes. Yeah. Text says, I was at the 13-second game. Best friend of mine called me randomly right as I was walking out of church, asked if I wanted to tag along with him, his dad and brother. Went through all the emotions, including the climax of watching winning the game, walking out of the stadium. My friend's dad says to me, we may have just witnessed one of the best games ever to be played in Chiefs history. And then says, I was also at Armageddon at Arrowhead. My dad won tickets with his job raffle. We went and watched Mizzou send Sod Reesing home crying. I like that one. Yeah,
Good
take
for
that
you.
with the Thomas Robinson clean block. 913-912-4810. Some of the other events that people would like to go back and have a do-over to go and attend if they could. Steve on Twitter says, the 84 Olympics in L.A., I was 23 and just out of college, could have made the trip cheap, and tickets weren't outrageous at the time, but didn't end up going to that particular event.
I have a good one.
I mean, this is in my own backyard. Messi has a hat trick in the World Cup, and it was in my own backyard. And once I saw the price of the tickets, it just wasn't even another thought to go.
I think there's one. This is more of a long shot, but one that I think a lot of people, especially my age, probably would have really been enamored by. Kobe's last game.
But could you have gone to that, though?
Probably. I mean, I've been to a Lakers game before. I went in 2004. That was the Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Shaq, Kobe era.
I mean, realistically, anybody could go to any event where you get on a plane, fly, get the tickets and all of that
but
stuff.
I gave it a thought because I was a huge Kobe guy. That's who I grew up, idolizing, him and Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Sharif Abdul-Rahim.
As one does.
I loved Kobe. That was my era of, like LeBron, Jordan. But I think for a lot of millennials,
Glad you put them in the correct order. But go ahead. Millennials, you were saying?
it was Kobe. Like that, just how he played, the style. He was larger than life. He really was this persona. I remember watching. There was a whole bunch of guys. We were in college fraternity of senior year. We're all just watching this, just around this. Like, he got a whole bunch of 21-year-old guys to just do nothing on I forget what night it was. I think it was a weekend. And instead of going out to the bars, we're like, no, we're watching Kobe's final game. Hey, ladies, I know you don't want us there either way. Doesn't matter. We're not going. We're going to watch Kobe do this. And so for me, that was one that I would have really, really loved going to.
You could have gone to Kobe's final road game in Oklahoma City. My brother and nephew went to Kobe's final ever road game.
I saw
against the Thunder.
Dirk's, one of his final games is last year in Philly.
Is that Kobe?
No, but I love Dirk too.
Just wondering if that was Kobe or not. Michael?
I almost wonder what, looking into the future, what it would be like to go to LeBron's final game. I know that would cost an arm and a leg and probably your kidney, but that would be something. I mean, talk about history.
Yeah.
That would probably be a must go to.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool as well. I know that's brought up last night. There's the positive and then there's the negative to last night's amazing atmosphere and game, and that is, and I do offer some of this opinion as well because we talked about it when the vote didn't pass and then the announcement was made that they're going to Kansas.
Yeah.
In that historic night, there is an expiration date that will happen with Arrowhead Stadium in the next 5 years. That moment that took place at that stadium will only be around for a certain number of years left. In 25 years, Argentina fans aren't going to be able to come to Kansas City and go, oh, this is where Messi scored his hat trick. That's not going to be able to take place. So I join in the chorus of, man, that kind of sucks. And that is sad that is happening. And as I've said, I'm fully on board with it moving to Kansas and on board with the dome or hopefully retractable roof of the new Arrowhead. But I also say that I can be of mixed emotions in that it will be an incredibly emotional day in the final game the Chiefs play at Arrowhead. And when Arrowhead and Kauffman are eventually, we know it will happen, eventually torn down. Like those, like even thinking about it, I can already feel the emotions, right? Of when that happens because of all the experiences that we've had. And I'm glad and fortunate that at least my kids have gone to Kauffman, have gone to Arrowhead. I've taken my son and daughter to Chiefs games, to Royals games. So it won't be like, I never went to Municipal Stadium, before the Truman Sports Complex. And my dad would talk about going there. Never went there, right? And there are a generation of people that will have kids that would have never gone to Arrowhead or Kauffman, and you're trying to explain it to them like my dad would explain it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I don't care. I'm here at this stadium.
There is some nostalgia because I think the people who went to Municipal when they moved to Kauffman go, well, no,
just not going to be the same.
It's not the same. I mean, that happens with every single thing.
And then there's also the, oh my God, what an upgrade. This is just so much nicer. And so there's both sides to the coin with this whole thing.
I think for me, for the World Cup aspect of it, that's less so. And not because it wasn't historic, which it clearly was.
Yeah.
But how many countries build stadiums literally just for the World Cup? Like, that's what they do.
Yeah.
They just build it for the World Cup.
Brazil, Qatar. Like both countries, Qatar and Qatar,
and then those are just there. They don't even really use them anymore, and so and those will a lot of times eventually be torn down.
And all the United States had to do was make modifications to already built stadiums.
Correct, and so
I mean the infrastructure was already built, which makes it a lot easier in this particular country.
And so for me, I think the soccer aspect of this is less important because I think this happens more in soccer, especially in the World Cup, when these are a lot of times either A, non-historic stadiums to begin with, or B, they were built literally only for this specific event.
Yeah, I could see that. 913-912-4810 is the text line. 913-912-4810. I want to go through some of the texts that are coming in here. Oh man, I lost that one. Oh, here it is.
Find it.
Here it is. Trucker Tim checking in from Cheyenne, Wyoming. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Trucker Tim?
I visited Cheyenne a couple of different times when I lived in Gillette for 3 months, which was 2 years of my life.
I did too, but not Wyoming. Just Cheyenne. Someone named Cheyenne.
Yep. But I lived in Gillette, Wyoming, for 2 years of my life in just 3 months. Said, my mom took me to 1980 Royals playoffs, sat in the second row from the top. Yeah, well, you were there. Second row from the top, but you were still there,
Awesome.
Tex says, bought a last-minute ticket yesterday.
Good for you.
Good for you, man. Says, I was at the 13-second, the 24-0 comeback, AFC Championship game Cincinnati win.
Wow.
Jesus, dude. Chiefs games and at the KU Mizzou Armageddon.
Dude. Are you the Marlin man? Like, who are you?
I regret not going to James Brown at Voodoo Lounge a few weeks before he passed. That's the regret.
Okay, now if we're doing music now,
well, yeah,
you and I are going to have
no, because I can't participate in this.
Yeah,
I want to participate in this. I don't want to just sit back as a, I don't want to, and I'll watch from the corner. I don't want to do that, okay? I'd be cool with you having the conversation, but I'm not going to just sit here and watch from the corner.
That is incredible. That would have been fun. James Brown at Voodoo Lounge would have been absurd.
Tex says, this is Cajun. I would have wanted to be at the first Saints game in the Superdome after Katrina with Steve Gleason's block punt against the Falcons from Cajun. That would have been an amazing one.
Yeah, that's a really good call.
Yep. Tex says, reverse entry. I wish I hadn't gone to the 95 divisional playoff game against the Colts.
I love the reverse entry. Strong.
That's pretty good, man. That is a strong one, dude. Tex says the Missouri National Championship basketball. You son, says nope, never mind. No reason for that. No reason for that. Tex says 1971 Chiefs longest playoff game, Christmas Day game. 2 small kids. Enough said. Yeah, cool. My dad went to that one. I think it led to the divorce because Christmas Day longest game ever. Like, all right, honey, I'll be back in like 2.5 hours. The next day. 2004 ALCS, or 2014, I guess, ALCS Game 5. It would have been cool to go to the 2014 ALCS Game 4 in Houston.
Yeah,
that would have been pretty badass. But, again, we're looking at realistic events that you could have attended.
That's realistic, though. You could have gone.
Yeah, I know, but in that sense, like,
you could go to anything.
Anything is realistic. I'm talking about, like that text, last minute bought a ticket to go last night. Okay, that's realistic because if you had an opportunity to even last minute buy a ticket, like last minute at 5 o'clock yesterday, I could have said, you know what, bleep it, I'm going. And I could have gone. But like, last minute, you can't be like, oh, I'm going to go to Kobe's last game or, some of those things.
05 Masters are on mine, though.
Could you have realistically gone to the
I went
05?
in 09, so
okay,
I guess it was 4 years later in theory. But that was the Tiger, the one with the hole 16. The chip in where I cannot imagine how many people do you think were there for that?
5.
No, but like who were around the green on that chip in? 1,000?
Yeah.
Like it can't be a lot. Like the people who were there and who witnessed in person Tiger's chip in on 16 at the Masters. That's a small number of folk. That's
okay, sorry.
Time.
Tex says, no. 2004 ALCS Game 5. Yankees Sox in Fenway.
Yeah, good call.
There we go. All right, that makes sense. All right, because I'm like, ALCS game, maybe he meant Game 5 ALDS of 2014. My bad for correcting your text in which you actually texted it correctly. Tex says, does FIFA fine you guys every time you call it Arrowhead? No, but if they did, I wouldn't pay it. Arrowhead.
What money?
The bills are stacking back here.
Yeah. You know what? The Texans and Chiefs 24-point comeback would have been pretty badass to be at. That would be one that, would be on the list of, because that was Doug on Twitter saying playoff game Texan, that comeback.
It's funny that there's been so much success in Kansas City that we're not talking about the AFC Championship game. I guess it was COVID, where they just beat the brakes off the Bills. We're not talking about, even the AFC Championship game a couple years ago when they beat the Bills a lot. But
yes. It's what they do.
When they beat them to go to Super Bowl 59. Like, we are not talking about AFC Championship game victories because they didn't result maybe in a win.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. Like, again, like Jameis Winston was here just walking around with a goat. You know what? Let's play this since we were talking about, how cool the connection is. Can you play Kay Adams? This is from Up and Adams from, what's today, Wednesday. So this was from Monday afternoon. We didn't get around to playing it yesterday. We should have. But she weighs in on her podcast, asked about which host city for the 3 nations in the World Cup, in her opinion, is the best host city for a World Cup match.
There are 16 host cities among the 3 countries. Of the 16, Kansas City is the best one. The 4 national teams holding their base camps in KC, Argentina, England, the Netherlands, Algeria, they're already winning. They have a leg up. It is a beautiful sports city. It's just quaint enough that there's not huge distractions, no traffic. And take a look at these practice facilities. Every time I open up Twitter, there is some new MTV Crib style clip showing me the base camps. Messi's living like a king. Kansas City is a perfect city for a World Cup. They know how to handle superstars. Patrick Mahomes, anyone? Brittany Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. Literally the biggest global superstar, Taylor Swift, is relatively untouched when she's in KC. Kansas City is going to have more star power per capita than anywhere else in the world. Imagine walking up to Joe's one afternoon and seeing Harry Kane ordering himself a Z-Man. Jude Bellingham, Van Dyke throwing pennies into one of the bajillion fountains out there in the plaza, picking up some knickknacks for their friends back home. This stands for fans for these matchups. In iconic Arrowhead, you've got Taylor, you've got, Paul Rudd, you've got Travis, Brittany Mahomes, Ted freaking Lasso, you've got, that's a global soccer icon right there. Kansas City is a sports city, the perfect host city. And I will probably be at more games in Kansas City than any other place across the 3 countries. So yeah, that's my hot take. 16 host cities, Kansas City is by far the best one.
As the kids say these days, Sterling, Kay Adams knows ball.
She's awesome. I know there was a little subsect of where some fans were not happy because of the Bengals conversation, but
it's fine.
She's a Mizzou alum. She went to the University of Missouri. She loves Kansas City. She speaks glowingly of it. She just tries to be as unbiased as possible and not just show love to KC.
Mm-hmm.
But she is very good at what she does. She's very knowledgeable. Had the pleasure of talking with her a few times, and she's so kind and nice, and she really does care about Kansas City and making sure that they get their flowers. And this is just another example of her almost, I don't want to say going out of her way, but yet again, just showing the nuances that makes Kansas City so great, of why the America isn't just LA and New York, and why the only Midwest city to get and host a World Cup game is Kansas City.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So appreciate Kay Adams, as the kids say, as I said, knows ball. By the way, my buddy texts and says that last night at least twice they called it Arrowhead Stadium. So FIFA would have to fine them before they fine us. You know what I mean? And you know what? It is Arrowhead Stadium. It's what it is. So I don't think anybody it does suck from that standpoint that if you're in Argentina, you're like, oh, yeah, let's go to I'm looking for Kansas City Stadium. Whereas, well, in 10 years, if you visit and look for Kansas City Stadium, you're not going to be able to find it. But in 3 or 4 years, if you're an Argentinian and you visit Kansas City and, hey, Messi's hat trick, where's Kansas City Stadium? What's that? Well, Arrowhead is over there.
Or Kaufman, or...
It'll always be Arrowhead. But yeah, what an amazing night last night that it was, and Messi's hat trick. And we'll see what today has in store, because yesterday was a day of stars, and we'll see what Ronaldo can break out with his noon kick coming up in about 30 minutes with Portugal taking on Congo as massive favorites in this particular match. Massive favorites. And yesterday was a day for stars and scoring. Maybe it's Ronaldo. Harry Kane! Maybe he'll have himself a goal today, where you had the 2, 4, 7 goals between the 3 stars in the 4 matches. Was pretty awesome. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling on the other side. Jeff Passan at ESPN has the top 100 trade candidates. Which Royals show up? Where do they show up? We'll talk about those things. And I want to compare the Chiefs' wide receiver room this year to a positional group a year ago where there was naivety and hubris in discussing said room, which ended up being a mistake. And we'll make that comparison from last year to this particular year. Matt Verderame comes up at noon. Mick Schaefer, 1 o'clock. More Zone next. Folks, the world's biggest soccer tournament has arrived. It's arrived in Kansas City as well, and you can trade the entire tournament on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. Argentina heavy favorites last night. They were trading at around 77%, and if you had it pre-match at 77%, you could have won a certain amount of money when they won, or as that starts to rise, maybe you trade out of your position, take a little bit of that profit along the way. That's the beautiful part about Kalshi being the largest prediction market out there. Right now, since yesterday was a day of stars, right now, Ronaldo, 1+ goals today, trading at 57%, which means that $100 is going to bring you back $170 on a trade on the market with Ronaldo. Portugal trading at 77% for the overall win. England later today trading at 57%, which again, $100 brings you back $170. Ecuador or Curacao coming up this weekend on the 20th. You can find many markets in almost any market for anything sports and politics and pop culture and anything out there. In Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Hey, I bought in and it was 30% probability here. Something happens. Now it's up to 60%. Do I think it's going to go all the way and that's going to actually happen? Maybe, maybe not. But let me go ahead and trade out and take my profit right now. You're playing it just as you would any other, stock market, things like that. It's a prediction market, but you can trade with your peers in a live market. No house. Probability changes, you buy in and out of your position. You may not know about certain other things in the world, but if you know about sports and you can play it this way, there are some real opportunities at Kalshi. And for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code JASON810 to get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi, 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 trade the beautiful game.
18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
We're trying to do a show, Lebo. He's just sitting in here. The audacity of that guy.
I mean, I don't understand. Like, does he not is this his first time in radio? You know what it is? Lebo, after being at last night's match, just walking around bragging and everything. Oh, hey, nice to see you this morning. Hey, have you been to a Messi hat trick game before? Oh, you haven't? Oh, that's weird. I have.
Have you?
Have you? Hey, Sterling, have you been to a Messi hat trick game before? Oh, you haven't? That's weird, because I have.
No. Lebo just in here, just rubbing it in. What?
Pause.
What do you mean pause?
Have you been to one? Have you been to one before?
No.
Okay.
I've seen it. I've watched it.
See? I've watched it on the tube as well.
He's looking to try to get some treats from us, is what he's trying to do.
That's true.
He's trying to get some treats from the fellas.
Yeah, that's.
I have no treats for him.
True. You don't have treats?
I don't have treats for Lebo.
Yeah, well, Stroud's has some treats for us, man, because Stroud's Catering, if you're planning a party and want to guarantee the empty plates, well, Stroud's handle the heavy lifting for you. If you're hosting a graduation celebration, family reunion, backyard bash, or a corporate event, you can bring the people together like never before in Kansas City's favorite comfort food at StroudsCatering.com. And the Father's Day Sunday, Stroud's Father's Day, June 21st Sunday, high quality, zero kitchen stress, 100% dad approved. Bring the legendary tradition of Stroud's straight to your dining room table or backyard patio with the Father's Day picnic box for just $99. The massive box easily feeds 4 to 5 people, comes loaded with all the comfort food classics that he loves. It is the Father's Day. Carry out 10 pieces of Stroud's fried chicken, mashed potatoes, Stroud's gravy, mac and cheese, sweet corn, green beans, world-famous cinnamon rolls. All that for the Father's Day special at Stroud's. So, Todd can come in and have himself a nice little treat.
Not yet.
He can
have a treat after the boys have done some work. I love
That's
Stroud's. I bleep and love Stroud's.
Yep.
And they also have maybe the best slogan of all time.
Stroud's. It's in the zone. Oh.
We choke our own chickens.
Well, yeah.
They do.
Good for them.
Doris, did you know that?
Sterling does as well.
That's
at least
typical.
Well, they have to because it's fresh.
That's right. That is right.
And it's good. I love Stroud's.
Yep, it's awesome. It is here at the station, so we're going to enjoy a little bit of that. And you can do that for Father's Day coming up this weekend on Sunday, and you don't have to worry about cooking for dad or husband or yourself. Whatever.
Yeah, you don't have to worry
about that.
About choking.
Stroud's will take that for you. 913-912-4810. Kylie McDaniel and Jeff Passan put out on ESPN the top 100 trade candidates as we approach the 5-week mark, 6-week. I mean, I can't even say we approach the trade deadline or we approach the All-Star break. But right now on June 17th, the top 100 trade candidates. There are 8 Royals players that make the top 100 trade candidate list. But what makes it all the more difficult and a tough spot for J.J. Picollo and the Royals to be in is you don't see a turnaround happening anytime soon. Cole Reagan's meeting with another doctor about his elbow. Bubic, the setback. Vinny, the hamate bone. Estevez with the never got started. India out for the year. Michael Massey now, potentially out for the year. Like, the injuries have taken its toll. And they've had a number of guys that just have not played well. Whether that be Vinny or how bad Salvi's been this year. A lot of issues about this team. But they don't have an obvious, here's this trade candidate that's going to bring you back something that's really worth talking about that can change the projection of your team the next couple of years. I don't know if you guys have seen the list. Probably have. But of the top 100 candidates, the top Royals player comes in at number 18, and that's Michael Wacha, who also comes in as the number 9 starting pitcher.
Yeah.
And I think that's the position that's tough for JJ to be in, because Skubal is the number one. Joe Ryan is the number 4 overall player, number 2 starting pitcher. Reed Detmer's number 6 overall player, number 3 starting pitcher. Jose Soriano, Sandy Alcantara, Freddie Peralta, Sonny Gray, Casey Mize, who just went on the IL. Those are all players that are ranked ahead of Michael Wacha in starting pitchers. 8 different starting pitchers are ranked ahead of Michael Wacha as the highest trade candidates, according to Kylie McDaniel and Jeff Passan. They know their stuff. They're tuned in to what's going on. And if the Royals had like the number 5 or 6 player, then it might be something to where you're really looking at and discussing and seeing which teams are interested in that position that player plays and which prospects that player might be able to bring back. But the best you offer is, according to a couple of people in the know, the 18th best player. Maybe in a seller's market, that would feel like the 9th or 10th best player that's traded. But it doesn't feel like there's a premier opportunity to go and restructure what your team can look like in 27 and 28. Seth Lugo comes in right after Michael Wacha. He's the number 10 starting pitcher. So you've got the number 9 and number 10 starting pitchers, the number 18 and number 22 overall players of the top 100. So you got a couple of guys that are there, but I don't know what it means and what they would bring back, because ultimately you got to field a team next year, and you got to field some starting pitchers next year. And the question that JJ has to ask himself, Sterling, is, are they close to competing next year? Or do you have to take a real long look in the mirror and say, this is the group that got you to the postseason in 24, got you 3 wins in the playoffs in 24, but since the 16-2 stretch of May in 25, they've played some really bad baseball that has resulted in missing the playoffs and now the worst record in the American League. With this group of players, we can talk about injury, Sterling, but that was part of this group of players.
Yeah.
Is that those guys remained healthy. So how much of a long look in the mirror does JJ and the front office have to make and say, are you really ready to go in 2027? And if you're not, then there's no reason to hold on to Wacha and Lugo, who are under team control, through 2027. Because you may be in the same position next year, Sterling, to trade them, only now they're rent players.
I think for me, your best bet is a Wacha and Daniel Lynch combo. Like, does a team need a starter and a reliever? A packaging.
Cubs need starters and relievers.
A packaging of both is your best chance to get back a, quote, impact player. Mm-hmm. But you're right. It's not like the Royals are flush. That's why it's so frustrating. Because the Royals don't have a great minor league system. The majors don't look great right now outside of a handful of guys. And you don't have a lot of trade chips at the deadline. Like, at least Minnesota has Byron Buxton and Joe Ryan, who are pretty premier trade candidates.
Top 10 guys in out of the top one. So top they've got 2 different.
2 to 4.
Yeah. I didn't know where. I thought Buxton was number 2. I knew Joe Ryan was number 4, but I couldn't remember where Buxton was. So number 2 on that list, premier guys that you can reshape what it may look like that next year.
And then Boston has multiple guys with Chapman and Duran and Contreras. I mean, you just look around, the Royals just are not in a good spot, and I don't know what they're trying to be. Like, are you trying to be a rebuilding team? Are you trying to compete now? Clearly they were trying to compete now, but they didn't go out and get Taylor Ward. They didn't go out and make these moves that might hurt your team on the starting pitching side, but will help your team. Duran over Reagan's. Like, I don't know where this team thinks they are at, and that's a scary sign. Like, some teams understand, hey, we are rebuilding. We know that. We're selling. The Royals, I feel like they still think they're a good team. Like, does JJ still think that, hey, we're just a piece or 2 here away in the margins? Not a big piece, but a piece or 2 in the Starling Martes and Lane Thomases and Isaac Collins, and the Matt Stroms, can we just win in the margins? No! If you stay completely healthy and the outcome are the outliers, yes, you can make the playoffs. But now you're basing everything on the outlier case scenario. That's not a sustainable method. I need the Royals, we need the Royals to take a hard look at who they are. Yep. Where do you think you are? Let us know, because if you are going to trade, you might have to make some moves that hurt.
Yeah.
You might have to make a trade that hurts and says, you know what, maybe we didn't get the best value possible, but now it's a sunk cost.
But also, maybe we don't want to take 90 cents on the dollar on this trade. Well, in 3 months, you might be taking 50 cents on the dollar. So you have to examine what's the max trade value starting now. Like, you can't go back and say, oh, man, the max trade value was for Cole Reagan, so now there's no way we're trading him. Well, I don't know that you would trade him right now, because now he's meeting with somebody else about the arm. So that's probably 5 cents on the dollar you would get. But you do have to examine and think, what's the max trade value for Cole Reagan's starting now?
Or Michael Wacha.
Or Seth Lugo.
Or Daniel Lynch. Or
Vinny.
John Schreiber. Or Vinny.
Or Michael Garcia.
And I brought up Garcia many times.
Yep.
And I feel semi-alone at times in this.
Or Stephen Kolek.
And I'm not saying you trade these guys for sure, but I'm saying if you are not doing your due diligence, Washington might trade C.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
Detroit might trade, probably will, Tariq Skubal. Like, just because a player's good doesn't mean they're for sure sticking around. Yeah. Now, I know Garcia is different because you signed him to an extension, so there is at least a little bit of a difference there. But the point still remains, you need to take a look at who you think you are and where you think you are. With Bobby Witt Jr. here, you want to compete right now. I get that. But this team and how it's constructed, you're not competing.
Well, and that's I think that creates part of how disappointing this year has become, is because the moves that they made, like, we know they needed a premier outfielder, right? It was, the corners have been brutal. Well, they got themselves one with Jack Caglione. Pretty damn good. But the moves they made, we all sort of agreed that, you know what, I like this. It raises the floor. Is it some stud player? No, but they're not relying on MJ and Renfroe. They're not going out and getting Randall Grichuk and hoping that he can be a guy that, you know, can hit lefties. Yastrzemski was really good.
Yeah,
but
good.
They're not going out and doing those things. They got Matt Strahm in the bullpen. They brought in Lane Thomas and Starling Marte. They traded for Isaac Collins. Like, you got your floor, and the end of your roster got much better than what it was a year before, and that team went 82-80. And it hasn't materialized because guys you were counting on either didn't perform or got injured. And it's unfortunate, but it's also the reality of having guys who are injury prone. The Lion didn't go crazy. The Lion went Lion. Bubic and Cole Reagans didn't unfortunately get injured. They simply were Bubic and Reagans. It's what they've been. And by the way, let me throw in Vinny.
Well, there are 7 qualified hitters. So you have 7 qualified hitters for the Royals right now. 2 are above league average.
Yeah.
Vinny, Cags and Bobby.
You'll get there.
Salvi, 569 OPS. Garcia, 705. Vinny, 660. Carter, 675. Collins, 635. And even for Kyle Isbell's a great start, he ended up at 651. I mean, like, you just look around and these guys aren't doing enough. Michael Massey has done his job, but how many guys can you really look at and say, no, they've done their job? There's a handful.
Well, I think when we talk about guys that get injured, I do think you have to throw Vinny Pasquantino into that mix now.
Well, now.
The thumb injury is unfortunate because it was kind of a freak injury, but he did have the labrum. Now he's got the hamate. He's had the the back that was bothering him earlier this year that he had to miss some time with.
You better hope it's injury related and not an aging, the bat speed, and all of that stuff. You better hope it's injury for Vinny, because if not, then you are in a very precarious situation. And not only that, he's been injury riddled throughout his major league career so far.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we talk about Bubic and Reagans, we have to talk about Vinny in that same category.
Which sucks because leader, clubhouse guy, seems like a phenomenal dude, accountable, but if you're injured as much as he is and the production's just not quite there, you're not a building block.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a Bobby or a Cags. You're at that point a guy.
Yep. It's a tough spot to be in because there needs to be a real, honest look of who they are, the players that can win a division for this team. How many do you have? And an honest assessment of the players that you have and what the value is that you can get back for them. Because I think we've seen that the core group that made the playoffs in 2024 is not good enough to carry a team back to the playoffs anymore because of an aging Salvi and injured Vinny, Bubic and Reagan's injured. It's just not happening the way that, you were hoping and thinking there was a chance that it could happen this year. And then throw in the fact that the best trade candidates are two guys in their mid-30 starting pitchers that are the number 9 and number 10 starting pitchers on the market. Other than that, you got Daniel Lynch at number 35, Bubic at number 42, Schreiber at number 61, Strom at number 69, Lane Thomas at number 73, and Starling Marte at number 97. Those are the players that are on the top 100 list of Kylie McDaniel and Jeff Passan of trade candidates, as the trade deadline is now 5-6 weeks away. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling more zone next. All right, wrapping up this hour, we'll talk with Matt Verderam coming up in the next segment. Sports Illustrated, the Matt Verderam Show. Get his thoughts on the Brendan Sorsby situation. Are there really going to be teams that will place a draft pick in the supplemental draft for Sorsby? Will the NFL suspend him? We'll talk about some of those things and Cam Jordan signing with the Saints, which ends the dream of a number of people that would have liked to see Cam Jordan in a Chiefs uniform. And we'll ask him what event he could go back and attend in a do-over like we've been talking about throughout the show today. Mick Schaefer at 1 o'clock. We'll talk with him. We continue rolling on this Wednesday edition. More Zone next. All right, welcome back here in the zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up an hour from now. Right now, let's talk with Matt Verderam from Sports Illustrated, the Matt Verderam Show, many other places you can hear and read and find the work from Matt. Matt, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
I am doing just fine. Let's start off with the congratulations on your New York Knicks winning the NBA championship. Have you come down from the high yet of Game 5?
No. I haven't come down from the high Game 4 yet. So how do you begin the process Game 5? I seriously, what was it, Saturday? I'm trying to figure out a way to get down to the parade. I'm probably not going to be able to get the kids. I'll probably end up going down for the weekend and maybe spend the night down there, meet some college buddies who are big Knicks fans and have a good time. But hey, look, anyone who's listening to this is a Chiefs fan who went through 50 years or any part of that stretch and then won. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, you watch that as a Knicks fan. Every game they got down, I'm sure from the outside, people are like, oh, they'll just come back. That's what they've done. As a Knicks fan, you were just waiting for, like, the absolute worst possible thing to happen. And then there's the final seconds that we're taking off the clock at Game 5. Like, oh, my God, they're actually going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was unbelievable. I don't think I'll be coming down from that high anytime soon.
Yeah, and you don't know or believe it or accept it until you're like, okay, or want to get ahead of yourself until it's like, wow, these are the final ticks of Game 5. They are going to win it. And for me, like in Super Bowl 54, it was Damian Williams turning the corner down the sideline that I was finally like, oh my God, they're going to do it. They are going to win a Super Bowl 2 weeks after the pass from Mahomes to Sammy Watkins against the Titans going, oh my God, they're going to do it. They're actually going to go to a Super Bowl. But you got to wait till those moments before you really want to let yourself get ahead of, and not be heartbroken.
1,000%. I mean, it was funny. I was watching the game. My oldest daughter's gotten really into the Knicks, and so she was watching it with me. She's 8. My dad came up. We just moved out to Connecticut, so my dad came up for a couple hours up the interstate. He's watching it. My best friend, who's like my brother, he's up here watching it, and everybody's going nuts. And they got up 4 points, and there's 7 seconds left, and you're like, they're going to win. But in my head, actually not even in my head, screaming at the television, I was just screaming, don't foul him, don't foul him. Because as a Knicks fan, all I could think was, I could see Jeremy Sochan, who's never on the floor, but is on the floor for this final 7 seconds as a defensive replacement. Like, don't foul anybody. Just lay on the court. I don't care what you do. And he jumped at Wembanyama. When he shot it, I was like, oh, my God.
What are you doing?
God, I'm doing it in the stands. I don't care what you do. And thank God he didn't foul him. And Wembanyama, who was horrendous for huge stretches of the series, just fired it off the backboard. That was it. But, yeah, I mean, it was Nirvana. I mean, shout out to Knicks Film School. I watch their Patreon. They have a podcast. They do a YouTube show. And I always watch. They're my age of 37, 38. Their postgame show is 9.5 hours. I mean, they were till 8 a.m. doing it.
Oh.
And so, yeah, I mean, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, I remember when the was it the 2015 World Series when the Royals beat the Mets. Sure. And it was an all-night show, and I think Steven and the boys went all night on into the morning doing their show. Just unbelievable when you've been a long-suffering fan. Matt Verderam is our guest. Let's talk about Brendan Sorsby. He drops the lawsuit. He's going to enter the supplemental draft. He'll have a pro day on July 10th. Let's start with, I know people have said, well, Brendan Sorsby might have been up there with Fernando Mendoza if he entered the draft. And my reaction to that is if he would have been up there with Fernando Mendoza, then what he would have gotten as a top 10 pick would dwarf the $5 million he got from Texas Tech. So he would have gone to the draft if he really thought that. It seems like there's a split view on how the NFL views Brendan Sorsby just as a specific player prospect. Is he a guy that teams look at and say potentially could be a franchise guy, or, well, he's got a big name because he was the best transfer available this year, doesn't necessarily make him the best quarterback in college?
I think so. From talking to people around the league, coaches, people, front office guys, my sense of it is that he's more viewed as, if he, let's just say he'd come out in this draft, he would not have been Fernando Mendoza. I have yet to talk to one human being who feels like they were. Oh yeah, he was better than Fernando Mendoza. I don't think anybody feels like that. I think there's a conversation to be had whether he would have gone ahead of Ty Simpson.
Yeah,
that would have been
interesting.
The conversation. Does he go ahead of a kid in Alabama who really was very, very good the first half of the year, and then did not play well the second half of the year? I think that would have been the conversation. I think most people feel like in just a quarterback average draft, just say, hey, there's 3 or 4 first-round picks for quarterbacks. He's probably right around the cusp of being a late first, early second. So, yeah, I do think he has franchise potential. There are a lot of people who feel like his arm is really good, that he sees the field well. But let's be real. As you point out, he applied for the supplemental draft. The NFL has to approve it. They don't, and they are not bound to do so. I mean, they could deny him. Now, I think they will approve it. I would expect that. But this is a very unique case, obviously, with all the gambling background and everything else. He admitted to gambling on over 3 dozen different games or different things in Indiana when he was there. I think if you're a team that is quarterback needy, you're going to be tempted. But you better have a real plan. You better have a real infrastructure. Like, not to just pick on this team, but I'm just using them as an example. You can't be the Jets. I'm sorry. Like, you can't be the Browns. You can't be one of these teams that changes coaches every 2 years and the owner's out to lunch and you just blow through quarterback after quarterback because you can never find a guy who actually solves the problem because you are the problem. It's not the quarterback, it's you. Like, I think he really, and Connor Orr, my colleague at SI, wrote a column, I completely agree with Connor. He should go to a team that has real organizational structure. The Buccaneers, the Eagles are 2 examples he used. I thought the Vikings. A team like that. He goes to one of these teams that is just perpetually in 4th place in their division. That just really scares me.
Well, and I think part of it, too, is if you go to a place that is already having not necessarily even having issues on the field, but is a team that has issues with whether it be the head coach or the culture or chaos around the organization, and you've got somebody that's battling the things that he's battling while also trying to be an NFL player, that seems like the worst combination you could possibly be drafted to if you're Brendan Sorsby.
Yes, and I think there's also to the point of, like, look, markets matter. If he goes to the Jets, that is going to be a circus. It's just that I'm from that area of the country. It is going to be an absolute media blitz because that's what it is. He goes to Arizona, it's not going to be, but the organization is not particularly strong. A place like Tampa, a place like Minnesota, those places, he doesn't have to start immediately. He doesn't have to go in there just instantaneously be like the savior of the franchise. Go in there. He can learn for a year. He can be brought along. Whereas if you bring him into New York, you bring him into Cleveland, even I mentioned them earlier, Arizona, there is going to be an expectation of the fan base. This guy is our savior. And we opened the show or opened the interview talking about the Knicks. Like, I watched a million guys go to the Knicks. And it was like, this guy is the savior of the franchise. It's Carmelo. It's Amari. And those guys are great players, but they didn't have the pieces around them. They were never going to succeed. And then it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy of, like, I'm getting booed. I don't want to be here. I don't want to deal with this. I mean, it's a hard thing. And I think for Brendan Sorsby, I hope that if he is drafted in the supplemental draft, I hope he goes to a team that is willing to work him up to a certain point and not just expect to throw him in there week 3 and, hey, man, here you go. Good luck. That, to me, is a terrible idea.
Do you think that there will be, if he's approved with the supplemental draft, do you think there will be teams that will put in a bid on Sorsby? And if they do, what level would it be? A day 2 pick? Would it be at best a day 3 pick? What are you hearing around Sorsby? Would teams be interested in, and what would it actually take, or what would a team put in for the supplemental draft?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Jason, it's going to be very interesting because usually in the supplemental, first of all, usually nobody gets drafted. Okay, typically speaking, for anyone who's not familiar with this, the way this works is, as you point out, like, players become eligible. If you're a team, you can put in a bid, basically. Hey, we're willing to give up taking Brandon Sorsby. But let's say they did. They didn't have Mahomes. They live in a world where Justin Fields is the actual starting quarterback, and they're like, okay, we're gonna bid on him with a third-round pick. If you then get that player, you forfeit the third-round pick in next year's regular draft. So that's the push-pull of this. And obviously, if you're a team, you don't want to overbid. You want to find that sweet spot. My read on it is, I do think he would get drafted. I think he could go as high as a second. I think he could go as low as like a fifth. My feeling is you settle in the middle. I think probably a third or a fourth rounder. And look, that's an incredible value. If that kid is, let's say next year's draft class is ridiculous, which also, by the way, plays a part in this.
Yeah.
You're going to have teams that are like, well, I don't want to give up a first or second round pick because look at the amount of quarterbacks that are slated to come out next year. So you're having this dance, but also if you're a team that's maybe thinking, hey, you know what, we could be drafted in the 20s, but maybe we want to upgrade a quarterback. I mean, maybe you're willing to say we'll give up a second rounder because that might pick 54, and every quarterback we're taking will be gone. It's a very interesting dynamic. My guess is it's either a third or a fourth, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was a little higher. I wouldn't be shocked if it was a little later. I do think some team will take him. I just think he's too talented.
Yeah. Visiting with Matt Verderam, we went through yesterday and we talked on the show about Terrell Pryor and what he went through in the NFL, even in the supplemental draft, still suspending him from the signing autographs or a tattoo or whatever.
Yeah, 5 games.
Yeah, that he had to go through. Is there an anticipation, maybe even expectation from NFL teams that there will be some sort of penalty for Brendan Sorsby from the NFL for gambling, even though it was in college, just as Terrell Pryor was in college?
I think there is an expectation that there will be clarity on that before the supplemental draft. I mean, right now, there's not even a date for the supplemental draft.
True, yeah.
So I think now that he's applied, I think then the next penalty is going to be, hey, look, if he comes to us, what can we expect? I mean, is he suspended for the year? Is he suspended for half the year? Is he not suspended? Do they just say, hey, look, this was a collegiate matter? You're right about Terrell Pryor, but that was also 15 years ago.
Right.
That was, so it's hard. I don't even know if that kind of aged out of being a president. Mm-hmm. I will say this: if you're the NFL, this kid, and I don't mean to say this isn't to sound critical of him, you're scared to death of this kid because, unfortunately in the NFL, assault charges, domestic violence, DUIs. I mean, it's all ugly. It's all bad stuff. The NFL is used to dealing with those issues, and they can handle it accordingly. Gambling, not that it's never happened. They've suspended guys. Calvin Ridley was suspended.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happens. Gambling is the biggest fear of any professional sports league because the second people feel like your games aren't on the level, you got a huge problem. And this is not some guy who, if he becomes good, is just he's a guard. This is the quarterback, like with a huge history of gambling. Like this is, and on his own team. And I get it. A lot of those games he wasn't on the field, but it doesn't matter. Like if you're the NFL, you are terrified that this kid is going to do something that causes a national scandal with your sport. And so I wonder if he comes in with some internal conditions, like, hey, look, we're going to approve this, but you've got to check in with X, Y, and Z, and you've got to do this, you've got to do that. I mean, it's because this is not something the NFL is going to take lightly. I mean, gambling obviously is exploding across the country, it's being legalized all over the place, and that's fine. But this kid, he represents something to the NFL that is very scary,
mm-hmm.
and I would suspect that he will be approved, but there might be some internal conditions that he's held to.
Visiting with Matt Verderam, this is probably a question that's more of a bigger sort of philosophical view of the NFL and this kid being, part of the overall conversation. But, like, I do wonder, and this may go back to when you're talking about the organization he's drafted in, because I do wonder how good NFL teams are at really even as far as we've come, but handling mental health issues while, it's a weekly competitive pace that you're trying to win games and that grind and your career is on the line and week by week while also dealing with the mental health part of this particular human. And we're just now getting into the sort of infant stages of handling those things. And I do wonder if NFL teams are even good at sort of balancing that act of hyper-competitive career on the line and week by week and every day is studying and tape for the next game. And there really isn't a breather outside of the bye week.
I think that a lot of NFL teams, a lot of professional leagues are making big strides and they're making big efforts. A lot of them have sports therapists on hand, just regular everyday therapists that you or I would go to. I think that's become commonplace. And one thing that I think is great that's happened, not only in sport really, but in society in the last 10, 15 years, it's not this bugaboo that it was years ago.
Yeah.
Where if you have a problem, you just sweep under the rug, especially, let's be real, as men. If you're a man, you sweep under the rug, you be a man. And that's the end of it. And, that was kind of the prevailing thought growing up. That was what it was. Now it's a lot more acceptable to tell somebody, hey, look, I'm struggling with this. And it's okay. And it's like, all right, well, so I think the NFL has done a really good job with that. I would also say, though, I don't care how good of a job you do with that, these jobs are unique. When you're talking, especially when you're talking about a quarterback or a big star player, where every day of your life you are just under the microscope. Look, we look at a guy like Mahomes in Kansas City who's an unbelievable success. And I'm sure he loves his life. But can you imagine the pressure that comes with being that guy every single day of your life? I mean, he went to the World Cup today. You know how many people probably went up to him and probably were really supportive and encouraging. But, you don't just get to live your life. You don't get to just go to the supermarket, pick up bread if you're Patrick Mahomes. And I think there's a certain level of everything that you do, everything that you say, everything you post. You are just scrutinized. And God forbid you lose a game. What was wrong with you? What happened? These guys live in a world that very few of us can imagine. And I do think that is where, as teams, you have to be proactive about that type of thing because it is a pressure cooker every day, all the time. And it's hard. And that kind of pressure can, really wear on people. I don't care who you are.
Visiting with Matt Verderam, and I may have the answer to this already, Matt, as we switch from talking about the NFL, but we've been discussing throughout the show today with Messi's hat trick and, me not going to the game. And really, when the price of the tickets came out, I kind of just put it out of sight, out of mind. But then after the game is over, I'm like, you know what? $800 is extreme to go to an event. But in 20 years from now, I won't know what I spent the $800 on. But 20 years from now, I would absolutely remember the hat trick that Messi scored at Arrowhead when I was there. And so we talked about sort of do-overs of events that you realistically could have gone to, not like some extreme, like I wanted to be at Wilt's 100-point game, something like that. And so we talked about amongst ourselves of, different things. We've had listeners, weigh in on their sort of do-overs. Do you have one that going back and going, you know what? And maybe it's very recently, but it was like realistically, I could have done this, but whether it's money or convenience or kids or circumstance, I didn't go. But man, I would take a do-over right now.
Yes, I know exactly. So, game 4 is the obvious answer to this next first thing, but tickets for like $7,000.
Yeah,
and
a little different than 800.
I can't even. My wife would divorce me. So I'd love to say that, but our finances are not such that I'm taking $7,000 to go to a Knicks game.
Yeah.
The easy one for me is I had an offer to get a ticket to the 13 seconds game.
Oh wow!
And I was like, you know what? I had this tradition of whenever the Chiefs play, I'm usually on the phone with my dad. Although now living out here, I'll probably just come up for the game. But I said, you know what? I'm kind of superstitious with that. I'm not gonna change it up. And as I was watching the ending of that game, it was cool that I got to share with him. So I don't regret it by any means in that regard. But there was a part of me like, oh my God, I could have been at this game.
Yep.
Like I could have gone to this game and I'm not there. I'm looking at what's happening. It's like the greatest football game I've ever seen. So, I mean, just in that regard, I would say that just because I was literally offered a ticket and I didn't go. And by the way, the ticket, as it turned out, was in a box next to Josh Allen's entire family.
Oh my goodness, that would have been amazing to experience from that perspective.
So I just remember sitting there being so thrilled watching the game and all thinking, "Oh my God, I could have been at the stadium." But hey, you know what? In the end, it all worked out.
Yeah, we had a number of people weigh in on the 13-second game. The 2019 AFC Championship game, things like that. But yeah, the 13-second game is. But you're superstitious. Had you been there, they would have lost that game. So thank you.
Right? They probably Butker probably misses it wide to the left.
Exactly.
And that they don't even go over. Yeah. No.
Yeah. So thank you.
There are plenty of games over the years thinking of I would have loved to have gone, but a lot of the times. Either I was a kid and I didn't have any money.
Yeah, right.
Or, nowadays it's I could, but I'm fortunate. I got family and friends who are super into sports. I'll watch it with me. I've been fortunate enough. I was at Super Bowl 54 covering it.
Yeah. I
was at Super Bowl 57 covering it. I've been a lot of I've been fortunate doing what I do for a living. I've gotten to go to a lot of these things.
Yeah.
But, the 13-second game, the 24-0 game was another one.
That'd have been awesome.
I'm sure I could have got a ticket to. I just didn't go and watching it. Oh my God, they're going to win this game. That's 24-0.
Yeah. No, that was those are great answers. And obviously, if the means was there, Game 4.
Oh God, any price that would have been reasonable there.
But also, there's the risk of you pay that money and they're down 29 points, and it just turns out to be a blowout for the Spurs, and you're like, oh my God, that was awful. What did I do?
That's the thing. It's
you don't know.
If I knew,
even
if I knew the result. I just couldn't fork over $7,000 without being in divorce court. But I would have probably argued at that point with my wife. I have to be
at this.
But you don't. To your point, if they lost the game by 30 points, that's a disaster.
Yep.
You spent $7,000 to go watch them get killed.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean that's always amazed me about people that go to the Super Bowl and it'll drop $10,000 a seat. What if they get killed?
Yeah.
But, hey, you've got the money. Go for it.
Yeah, I was thinking about staying in New Orleans for the Chiefs and Eagles Super Bowl, and I decided against it.
I was at
Thank
that
goodness.
one. I was in the locker room after the game for that one. That was
I stayed for the one in Miami because I said the first Super Bowl I'll ever attend is the one the Chiefs are in, and I stayed for that one, watched it, they won, and then that was the last one I stayed for. But I was thinking about that Eagles one. I'm like, you know what, three-peat. I kind of want to be there for history, and my goodness, I am so glad I came back on Friday.
Save the money.
Absolutely, Matt, you're the man. I really appreciate the time, brother. We'll catch up soon. Congratulations on the Knicks.
Hey, thanks a lot. Take care.
Absolutely. There's Matt Verderam, Sports Illustrated, the Matt Verderam Show. Good stuff from him. 13-second game is what he chooses, and he said he was actually offered a ticket to the 13-second game and turned it down. And how about the ticket was in the box next to Josh Allen's family? That would have been an amazing sight and perspective to watch the highs and lows and the gut-wrenching lows and the elation from the touchdown pass to Gabe Davis if you're Josh Allen's family and you finally got past the Chiefs, you're going to an AFC Championship game, and then 13 seconds later or real time, whatever, they tie the game, coin flip doesn't go. Josh Allen had won every coin flip that year except for the divisional round game, and the Chiefs go down and score, and to experience it from the box next to Josh Allen's family. But you turned it down for a number of different reasons, and thankfully he did. He said he was superstitious, and when the Chiefs are playing, he talks on the phone with his dad, and so that's what he did. And had he been at the game, 13 seconds doesn't happen, and the Chiefs lose.
I still remember asking Josh Allen to his face about the 13-second game.
As you should.
That was...
You would waste your time interviewing Josh Allen.
I think his
you don't
answer
ask
was
him about
about
the
13 seconds long.
I bet it was. I bet it was about 3 seconds long. It included a bleep and a U. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone next.
Well, you'll want to be here way longer than 13 seconds. That's the back9golf.com. It is out there in Overland Park off of 75th and Metcalf and Liberty, just north of the Liberty Triangle. It is 24/7, 365 access. You want to go before work? You want to go after work? You want to go during work? You want to sneak out of the house and play at midnight? You got the itch? Well, this is the place for you. You can do it anytime you want at the back9golf.com, and you can bring your own food, snacks, and beverages. But it's not just a fun spot. It's a great spot for you who are trying to improve your game. Stay at the top level. And by the way, they use full swing sims. It's the best in the market. It's the ones used by many pros. And if you're left-handed like myself, sims, you always think, well, they're not meant for us because they're always meant for righties. These are such phenomenal technology. Lefties and righties can use them, and there's no moving back and forth. Those simulators on the ground trying to see if it's going to read it and pick it up. No. These full swing sims are incredible. You can ask Overton as well in sales. He's a righty. I'm a lefty. We can play, and we rip it out real quick. But sometimes when you play with someone, it can be hard because you're sitting here going, well, how many strokes do I give you? Well, now the Back Nine Golf did something special. They're rolling out their indoor handicap. It's called the Bridge. The Bridge takes the handicap you earned outdoors and turns it into a fair one indoors. So this way, you can now figure out and actually play handicaps indoors against your friends. So host parties, clients, working your game, and so much more. That is the back9golf.com.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up at 1 o'clock. Thank you to Stroud's with a fantastic food drop. Amazing chicken that they have. They dropped off some cheese curds, some chicken, chicken strips, fried chicken, and, of course, the world-famous cinnamon rolls. And they've got their Father's Day special coming up for $99 on Sunday that you can get. And you don't have to worry about cooking for dad or husband. It's Stroud's taking care of it for you. Awesome stuff, and it was fantastic.
Dude, unreal. Yeah. I have had so much chicken.
You need a Stroud's nap.
I would love a nap right now.
Stroud's coma. Stroud's coma.
Thanksgiving, just do that. Just give me this. Give me Stroud's. That was incredible. I mean, I love Stroud's. I just haven't been in a little bit. I used to go a lot with my aunt and uncle because I remember I as a growing up loved the chicken and the cinnamon rolls. And,
oh yeah.
But man, that's about as good a chicken you can ever make. Well, no, you can't make.
Yes.
That is way better than anyone can make. That was just unreal.
Yeah. Yep. 913-912-4810. Still taking your events that you would have a do-over with that you did not end up attending, but you had the opportunity to do it. You know, realistically had an opportunity to go and do that. This one says, biggest regret, had tickets to the Sunday of the Masters last time Tiger won. Sold them last minute. Silver lining, it was used in the down payment of my last house. Well, there you go. At least you got something out of it. That's cool.
That's a little frowned upon, selling your Masters tickets. Little frowned upon.
Well, maybe he sold them to a buddy. I don't know. I won't give out this person's name and information to the Masters. So he. And
if you're going to sell them to me, for free.
Yes. 913-912-4810. You can keep sending those in to the text line. I mentioned that a positional group this year that I do want to compare to this time a year ago in what the conversation was and maybe or if we've learned our lesson from last year. So this wide receiver group this year, Rashee Rice is now out of jail. Xavier Worthy's put on a little more weight. Tyquan Thornton's wanting a little bigger role. Cyrus Allen in the fold. So, he's there as well. Jalen Royals, year number 2. And there have been some frustrations with the wide receiver room because there wasn't a bigger splash that was made or a draft pick outside of Cyrus Allen in the 5th round. And I do think there might be an element of learning our lesson, but it's viewed as a more important position. So a year ago at this time, we were talking about the running back room and saying, well, Pacheco returning from injury. Kareem Hunt is really good in the short yardage. So you've got Pacheco, and, they drafted Brashard Smith. Elijah Mitchell offers that big playability, and that's really what they need. They need somebody that can hit a home run. And Brashard Smith is a guy that a lot of people thought was kind of a steal in this draft, and so we'll see what he can be as a rookie and maybe in the passing game a little bit out of the backfield. But a healthy Pacheco, a little more explosion there. And what you get from Kareem Hunt on short yardage, you're kind of combining for a 3-down back. And then you got a couple of game-breaking chances with Elijah Mitchell and also Brashard Smith. Okay, I think the running back room is going to be fine with the players that they have. And there were some other players that were signed and people would have liked to see them go out and get. And you didn't go and get this guy or that guy, and Javonte Williams signed, and J.K. Dobbins, needed Rico Dowdle, different names out there that people liked, and maybe you spend money on it or not, but they didn't go that route. And okay, that's fine. Is it because it's the wide receiver position and it's viewed as more important, or maybe we just learned our lesson because you can make some real comparisons from last year at this time of the running back room to what we're talking about the wide receiver room. Hopefully Xavier Worthy recovers from his injury. Rashee Rice is there to give you different things. Tyquan Thornton's a nice player. You drafted Cyrus Allen. You know, you added some in the draft. It wasn't a big draft pick, but you added a nice piece there that, okay, I see the strategy behind it. I see the theory behind it. Rashee Rice another year. Xavier Worthy health. Taekwon used a little more. Royals year 2. Cyrus Allen, great route runner. But there's way more frustration with the wide receiver room this year than there was last year with the running back room. And I'm not saying, Sterling, there wasn't frustration with the running back room, but it almost felt like it was more of an accepted, like, okay, I see the Chiefs' strategy of what they're doing here. And Pacheco another offseason, if he can return to what he looked like rookie year or year number 2, then they're fine at running back with Kareem Hunt and Brashard Smith and Elijah Mitchell, and we'll see if somebody else goes and proves themselves that they can be a running back on this team. But it's not going to be something that will cost them this year, where we've seen some rough patches with wide receivers. So there's a lot more frustration with the lack of movement and acquisition on the wide receiver side.
What's funny is I think I'm on the opposite on both these. I was more upset with the running back room going into last year than most. I didn't understand it at all. I was the one that was very frustrated that was the group, and I was shocked by it, and I feel like most people tried to, again, talk themselves into it. I'm not trying to say, hey, I got one right, because I might get this one wrong. I'm not as worried about the wide receiver room as most. I'm really not. I'm not saying it's a great wide receiver room. I'm not saying it's top 10. I don't think it's this atrocity. Now, part of it has to come down to, which is part of the equation of literally Rashee Rice staying out of jail.
Yeah.
And not messing up. But if we're talking just on-field aspects, Rashee Rice is a good wide receiver.
Yep.
There's no denying he's at least a good. I'm not saying he's great. I'm not saying he's a wide receiver 1, but he's a good wide receiver. I'm buying stock in Xavier Worthy. I'm buying it while it's low. Warren Buffett, Jimmy Buffett this thing. Okay.
Thank you, Kels.
Do it, Kels.
Speaking of 13 seconds.
Feel like everyone was too excited early on, and then now everyone jumped off. I was kind of a pessimist early on, and now I'm buying in because I do think I saw enough glimpses of Worthy that with a better run game, with a slightly revamped offense, with Bieniemy getting the mental side, I do think fixed for him, a more established wide receiver coach. I think Worthy has the work ethic. We haven't really heard anything ever negative. It was a couple lapses here and there, and then obviously the injuries that third play on. I'm buying stock in Worthy. I'm not saying he's going for 1,000 yards, but I think that with Hollywood gone, his role, especially in the intermediate area, will open up, while I think Taekwon will take the role that Worthy had last year on the deep ball, which I think Taekwon fits very well. And I find myself looking and going, now, health's always a thing. The depth after those 3 guys is a little alarming, but you have a power slot in Rashee Rice. You have, I think, a better version of what Hollywood Brown was last year by a pretty wide margin, a guy who in that 10 to 20-yard range can really be effective, where I think Worthy actually thrives, because I do think he's a good route runner. And then I think Tyquan Thornton is your deep threat. He is your, I know people will probably laugh at this, but like your MVS. MVS has a sometimes bad connotation here because of the drops and the miscues late, but he was also, when he was good, MVS was a really viable piece for this team.
Playoff MVS became something.
Right? I mean, like, I know we can joke with the drops and all that, but I think if you take some of the better versions of MVS and what he did provide, it was a fine player, and I think Taekwon can for sure be that. And by the way, on those teams, MVS was almost your wide receiver 1, right? So I find
he was in that Bengals game that they ended up winning in the 2022, AFC Championship game.
And so I find myself not as worried about the wide receiver room as most, which is funny. When I was, a lot of these guys I had major question marks about, and I know they're not necessarily answered right now in the offseason, but I'm not as worried as most. I'm not saying it's great, but I'm saying I think it's can you win a Super Bowl with this wide receiver group? I think the answer is yes.
Yes, I think you can because you have because you have Patrick Mahomes, so you can win a Super Bowl, because we've seen them win a Super Bowl with a much lesser group of wide receivers.
Correct.
Where it was MVS and things like
Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore.
Absolutely. They beat the Eagles with MVS, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, as Justin Watson as their wide receivers. Now, Kelsey was a much better player at that point than he is certainly 2 years ago when he was last year, and maybe
and
expected
that's a
it
very
this year.
fair argument. If you want to say that Kelsey was the reason why, I'll entertain that very, very much.
But there is a comparison in terms of like, okay, so I think they're going to be okay this year because I'm buying into Andy Reid discussing Xavier Worthy's injury and all of the routes that they limited him with last year because of that. Xavier Worthy talking about how he couldn't be as physical because he, had the injury. That, hey, if he's now healthy, then he's going to be back to the guy they were hoping he would be as a first-round wide receiver. Rookie year, they put him into different spots they maybe weren't planning early on. And now you've got an injury for year 2 that may have sapped all of the stuff that they were thinking about, but he's going to be healthy and returning this year. But there's such an untrustworthy element of Rashee Rice even being out there. And I think that's part of it is is Xavier Worthy, if he hadn't been injured last year, what would the stock be for Xavier Worthy going into year 3? Would we be saying he's got a chance to be a guy that has 1,000 yards receiving? Look what he did last year, number 2. Now it's going into year number 3. Because there is a lot of projection on what he could have looked like if he were healthy and just an unknown of how many games is Rashee Rice going to be available for? Because I have no idea. Is he going to be available for 16? Is he going to be available for 17? Is he going to be available for 5? Because then that does change the calculus of that. And, injuries, as we're talking about it right now, you can add in if you want to. A year ago at this time, we weren't necessarily saying, boy, what happens if Pacheco gets hurt or Kareem Hunt gets hurt? Because that's part of the conversation. Sure. We were discussing it as, okay, here's the player you have. Here's the player you have. What does this wide receiver group look like or running back group look like? And then what does the wide receiver group look like with the unknown of injury? But I think more than injury is the untrustworthy element of, is Rashee Rice going to keep his nose clean during the regular season and is not going to be in trouble or do something stupid and be brought into the news again?
And totally fair. I think for me, too, as far as wide receiver 4 goes, or the Juju Smith-Schuster role, if you will, he was basically wide receiver 1/2, based on snaps, was crazy. I think Jalen Royals can be that Juju role. I think that's why they were comfortable letting Juju sign with the Giants. If they wanted him that bad, I'm sure he would have been brought back.
Yeah.
Jalen Royals is one of those guys where I don't know that he's going to go for a lot of yards this year. I don't know he gets a lot of targets this year, but I find myself thinking he's going to get a lot of snaps this year in that blocking role. I think he's going to see the field. Like I really do. Maybe not the same amount that Juju did last year, because that was also by necessity at times as well. But and again, maybe I am being too optimistic and talking myself. But I don't feel like it because I've been so pessimistic on the edge group.
Yeah,
I've been pessimistic on a lot of spots, but the 2 spots where I feel maybe more optimistic than the average person has been wide receiver room in the secondary. I feel like I'm a little alone on an island, not trying to have a hot take. It's just my true feelings.
If Rashee Rice is out there all year and Xavier Worthy is healthy, then I think the wide receiver room is fine. If those things come to fruition. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. Mick Schaefer will be our guest coming up at 1 o'clock. More Zone right after this. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer. Text comes in. You'll like this one, Sterling. First-time texter from David Darth. Had a chance to go see Metallica with Godsmack opening when I was 13. I'm now 38. Long story short, I got bad grades, and my mom told me I couldn't go. Took 20 years before I finally got to see him, and it was in St. Louis 9 years ago.
Wow. That's crazy.
Well,
yeah, I'd
get
be
good grades, kids.
I feel like my parents would just somehow still take me.
They would, of course.
They'd be like, get better grades, but we're going to go.
No discipline for Sterling.
Well, my parents were like, well, we want to go, too. What are we going to do? We didn't buy the tickets.
We're not going to hire a babysitter.
What are we going to do?
We already paid for the babysitter. It's his ticket.
Metallica is the babysitter.
Yeah. Boy, are we really going to be godsmacked if we don't take him.
Twitter thinks he's funny.
Shame on you nerds.
His wife and kids think he's lame.
No!
We couldn't get Paul, so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on the Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
All right, Wednesday edition. We continue rolling. One more hour to go here. 1 o'clock hour. Mick Schaefer, KSHP 41 Sports Director, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. We had a big watch party there for my son's birthday last night, and Messi. We did not.
Has he exceeded you in age yet?
Almost in birthday parties
and Messi
we've had.
Almost has too.
Yes,
He'll be 39 in like 8 days.
That's crazy. When I was 39, I was not running around on a pitch.
You were done with your World Cup days?
Yes, I was not still playing in a World Cup when I was 39 years old.
I still have a chance.
You have a chance?
I still have a chance, yeah.
Next World Cup.
Next World Cup, all I need to do is
You'll
score
be
like
under
19 goals.
39. You'll be 36-ish or something like that.
36, yeah.
34-ish, 35-ish.
36. No, I'm an honest
32
man.
now.
I'm proud about my age.
Michael, you'll be 23 at the next World Cup.
about.
23 years old for you?
I might be.
Okay. I might be. Who knows? I'm not telling you.
By the next World Cup, I'll be still younger than Sterling.
Oh, that's true.
Than he is right now.
That is true. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I would say the next World Cup after that, you'll also still be younger than Sterling. And the one after that.
Some Strauss for thought.
That is exactly.
Strauss for thought. I can't believe Messi has only scored 16 World Cup goals. Seriously. I can't
it's hard to do.
Keep that pace up. Why is he not? He apparently hasn't had that pace up every year.
Why didn't he just score 3 every time?
He should. And those were like, he makes it look so easy.
Only one of them was like, all right, kind of worked in your favor. The ricochet, the rebound.
Followed his own shot or followed somebody else's shot.
That's what you got to follow the shot, man.
Follow
You don't
the
just
shot,
stand there.
man. You got to rebound.
The other two were just pills from, like ridiculous. And it's what makes him.
I'm pissed he didn't have 4. That's a stupid offside.
Yeah, I know. It's what makes him Messi, one of, if not the greatest players ever, is that his opportunities when he releases the ball, almost every time, like you think it's going in.
I don't know why it's Lionel Messi. It should be Lionel Clean.
Or Leo.
Not even Lionel.
It's Lionel.
It's like Lionel Richie.
Lionel
I will say,
DiCaprio.
to prove a point of how good he is and how those shots that were made, they had 0 big chances created, and he had 3 goals.
Yeah.
That's just him basically saying, yeah, I'm just going to I'm doing one-on-one ball.
He's the only one in the world that should be allowed to act shocked after he misses a goal.
Yeah.
Every other
hands to the head.
50 yards too high, and their hands, I cannot believe.
Hand
How
in the
can
air.
you not
like,
believe that 99% of the time you're not scoring? You should be shocked when it goes in.
My favorite
they
is
did that when it goes in. They do like the shot.
Oh my God, that's how it should be. That's the genuine reaction.
I did it like a little kid that shoots a 3 and banks it in. I made it.
Yes.
I hit that one.
Yes.
My favorite is when there's a team, making a run and there's sort of an opportunity in a moment, and a dude just takes a stupid shot from outside the box and it flies 15 feet, and then he looks at everybody and waves them like, my bad. Yep, my bad, dude. I'm sorry. Immediately apologizes like, yeah, and everybody else is looking at him like, hey, I'm right here. What are you doing? Hey, they're Italian apparently. Oh, right here.
Like basketball, that happens all the time when they got like swing to the corner and you're like, why is this 7-2 guy who doesn't shoot threes shooting this?
Yeah.
But then you're like, okay, well we have another possession in 18 seconds.
Yeah, you always get it right back.
That's true.
But this might be our only scoring chance of the week. And you did that.
That's exactly right.
You absolutely did that.
You did it the last time too, man. It's like in basketball. I was talking to my wife. I'm like, in basketball, I can play with some guys who are lesser players. I can't play with a chucker. I just can't play with the guy that is, every time he touches the ball, he feels like there's a shot for him somewhere. I can't play with the chucker.
Is that you?
Can't do it. Can't do it.
No.
You can be a lesser player, and I'll find a way to enjoy it.
You throw it up, and halfway there, you yell, game time each time?
Game time. Rain Man. Make it rain.
I mean, the occasion.
He hasn't said no yet.
Occasionally, you have to say game time once it leaves your
Rainmaker.
fingertips.
You just,
when you know it's in.
You let it go and look at the defender and go, I'm a bucket, and then run the other way.
He says all those things, I guarantee.
I know, anytime I'm posting someone up, I go, hey, who baby this is?
Mouse in the house.
Who baby this
You
is?
play 5th graders? Who do you post up?
Who are you posting up a third? That's great.
Dude, I
there
say
are 5th graders that would post you up, Sterling, I promise you.
Soccer officials, I can't really tell. I feel like sometimes I can tell if they're good or not. Probably I don't. I can't tell. But they have the thickest skin of any official set out there, right?
Yes.
These guys run up our nose to nose, pleading their case with it, both of them, and there's never any rules like you got to get away. If it's basketball officials, they got to huddle and have the players 30 feet away from them, right? Or they'll tee up. Oh, this is like guys in the middle of like 22 guys just arguing in his face. He's got somebody in his ear telling him stuff, and he
reaching
stays
for a
calm
card
and collected.
out of his
And he
pocket.
just ran 7 miles. And he's out of breath.
He's trying to walk, and they keep getting in his way. Like they're getting in his way and talking while he's trying to walk over to the guy to card him. Yeah. And
he's the only guy out there to cover this gigantic field too.
He's getting jumped by
NFL's got
everybody.
8 dudes.
Yeah.
I'm just watching the right side of the offensive line. That's my only duty on this play.
I'm only watching Juwan
These
Taylor.
guys got to do everything, and they catch everybody's crap. That's always watching.
Well, it's a Chiefs game, so I'm not watching for holding while the Chiefs are on offense because that's what I'm being told not to do. What was your view of Messi's 3 goals there at Arrowhead?
My view was from the station. I was regretting it. It's a great question. We went through it a few months ago. We had to decide what 2 people from our station were going to get credentialed for the games, and I was like,
"You not get it?"
Well, I made the choice, so I'm like, I know some are on Fridays, Saturdays, whatever. My normal days off, I'm coming in, so I was going to be one of the 2, but then we found out that the same 2, it's got to be those 2 that go to Netherlands availability. England training, Algeria availability, all that stuff. So that's 5 times the amount of matches there are is just going to all these places, and that's during the day when I'm making it. And so I made the grown-up adult decision of okay, it can't be me. Although I mean, obviously we all realize at the time how big of a deal this is, and now everybody is realizing how big of a deal this is. And so I made it. Matt and Mackenzie are 2 reporters, and they've done a great job, and I was just absolutely jealous of them last night.
I was jealous of everybody. Kevin Timmons sent some video of him being there.
KT.
Lebo's wife had perfect video of Messi's 3rd goal for the hat trick. I'm jealous of all the people that were there.
He would have got another goal had they not pulled him out. I mean, you could just feel it.
It's just unreal. So much open space and also created by some pretty nifty passes.
That was a great pass, that first goal.
Yes.
It is crazy how
the team around him is so good.
Yeah.
They even for the non-trained soccer eye, you could tell that, okay, now I see why they won the World Cup.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's so crazy is you'll see these other countries and players who are good, and you're like, okay, I can see these guys are talented. These guys are obviously very good. But then you see the special ones like Messi, and you're like, oh, this is different. This is the Mahomes of soccer. This is the LeBron or Jordan or
you had it right the first time
of the NBA. I knew I couldn't do it.
It's amazing.
At his age too. I mean, at his age, it's nuts.
Not that it doesn't seem like there's a drop off.
No.
I mean, now he's getting 3 goals in a World Cup match. And listen, he's scored every time he's been in Kansas City, right? He scored. I know he scored once. I thought he scored both times. Was in Miami, maybe just once, but he scores a lot here. I'm just saying, Sporting Kansas City let's get GoFundMe going. Just bring him here.
Do it. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah. And I love last night that, and we talk about civic pride all the time, but what was so amazing of last night is you've got the hat trick. You see all the videos from the watch party to at FanFest, and then also at the Power and Light. And, whether they want to call it Kansas City Stadium, we know it's Arrowhead. Drake pointed out that on the broadcast last night they called it Arrowhead 2 different times.
Yeah, that's
right, it's great. But forever, Messi breaking the record for most World Cups and getting a cap, and the most World Cup goals, and his first ever hat trick will forever be connected to Kansas City.
It was going to be a historic event regardless. If it was a 0-0 tie and he left with an injury or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's even more of a seminal moment in the city's history now. It's just one of the biggest deals ever, man. I don't think I'm exaggerating.
No,
this is maybe the biggest thing that's ever hit this town.
And from a world perspective, worldwide, there were more eyeballs on Messi and Kansas City last night than what would be on a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Worldwide. You're talking about hundreds of millions of people watching around the world as compared to a Super Bowl, and that's for one match, and it's here in Kansas City. And it was just awesome. And I had complete and total FOMO on the second goal And then on the third goal, and I'm like,
could you have gone? Did you have?
Well, I mean, I could have.
hookup?
I mean, I could have gone because there were tickets on the secondary market. You know, I mean, I could
What
have
did
done
they get
that.
down to? Do you guys know?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably like
Couple hundred?
700 or 800,
Oh, okay.
probably.
Well, no.
You know, and that's what it
Mick, we've
brought up.
spent money on way dumber things.
I mean,
than that.
you have expendable income, Sterling. I just
Yeah,
don't
that's,
have too many
that-
kids.
that's
Well,
Yeah,
no,
it's
expendable is in like I just don't pay attention. We just it's not real. It's
Yes.
money's
money's not real.
It's all a social construct. You
Sterling
just
Sterling has never looked at a menu from right to left.
Good point.
He has
No.
never looked right before looking left at a menu. He's never even looked right. He actually doesn't even know what the right side of that menu is. What at the end of whatever that dish is. What he doesn't even know what the numbers are.
You can.
What are those?
Bukaty North, I don't think they teach economics or anything.
Why
There's
would
no
they?
need to.
You know
yeah.
what you do
No.
is
They teach trust fund.
every time you use a credit card, once you max it out, you just cut it up and throw it away in like a lake or something.
Yeah.
And then it's good.
It goes away.
I think that's how it works.
It's
right?
good after that. What do you use after you cut up the credit
You
card?
just get a new one.
Get a new one. Yeah,
You
yeah.
just keep getting new ones. Just keep recycling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you tell yourself you're going to transfer balance and you forgot, and you're fine, dude.
As long as your
all
credit
good.
score starts with like a 3 or a 4, you're
Yeah.
good.
Is there a 3 in your credit score? Yeah.
As long
is
as
it the
it's
first
triple
number?
digits, you're triple digits. You're
Yeah,
good.
233 is pretty good, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's only misspelling one letter of my name on the credit report sheet, right?
Credit reports like IQ, right? Like 70, 80, 100, 200. Like 200
yes.
is
Really good.
pretty.
It's
200
like
is like
unheard
the
of,
greatest
yes.
you can ever have.
I just
Okay.
barter everywhere I go. I go, what can I?
Radio guy.
What can I?
Can we work out some trade here?
I won't go tarps off in your nice restaurant if you give me this. I won't.
Well, you won't go tarps off anyway, sir, because you won't be allowed in here. We'll just kick you out.
Did you guys say your biggest FOMO event before? I know you're talking about that. Have we done that yet, or are we waiting?
We did it a couple times, and just in some different texts that came in. I was.
What was yours?
Mine was the wild card 2014. Was the number one for me that I would have loved to be at, and we came up with a few other ones as well. What would be yours?
A couple. I turned down going to the Super Bowl in Vegas.
Oh,
you
yeah.
dumb bastard.
It was
so
an
tired.
overtime to the
Super Bowls.
49ers.
Yeah, walk off. I mean,
Yeah.
what was that? One of 2 walk off Super Bowls. Was it like I want to say LeGarrette Blount? Did he? Who? Anyway, whatever. Walk off
Sure.
Super Bowl. Sure,
It's the only one walk-off that included McCole Hardman.
it did.
Yep. I know that for a fact.
But my biggest is 2011. Oklahoma State was having the greatest football season it will ever have. I'm convinced now. And so they're undefeated. They're 11-0. They're number 2 in the country, and they're going to play a pretty crappy Iowa State team, bottom of the Big 12. And it's a Friday night. My dad, I called my dad. I'm like, let's just go to this. Because I had to do a Valley football game at like Illinois State the next day. I'm like, let's on the way, we'll go.
sweet.
And so we'll catch it. And then we had tickets and everything. We are going to go to Bedlam at Oklahoma State. And OU was good, but O State was better. And it was going to be, okay, we're going to these two. And, of course, O State loses to Iowa State, and we drive through the night to Blono, Illinois. It was just the awfulest, worst thing. And then the next Monday, I'm like, I'm not going. I've been to so many Bedlams. I've seen 2 personal wins, but I'm old. It's out of 40-some years. And so I can't do it. I cannot do it. I'm not going to. So we got rid of the tickets. I saved the money, and I threw like a watch party at the house. And Oklahoma State won 44-10, and it was
It was Bedlam.
I was like, that's the only time they've ever blown them out. I mean, if they're going to win, it's going to be by a score. And so I'm like, and I regretted that one.
So you chose the wrong one. You went to the loss and then gave up Bedlam when
I
you
think
could have.
even if I didn't go to the loss, I would have
Yeah.
said, I'm not going to do this to myself. I'm not spending hundreds of dollars to watch this team fall on their face again.
Yeah. If knowing now, and that's the risk you take. Like we were talking to Matt Verderam, and he was like, obviously for me it would be Game 4 as a diehard Knicks fan his whole life. It'd be Game 4 there in Madison Square Garden. He's like, but the tickets were $7,000, and he's like, even knowing now what happened, I still couldn't pay $7,000
It's going to be
to
something
get in
like
there.
practical and.
But also like. You don't know that's going to happen. Like imagine the people that spent $7,000 after the end of the first quarter. They're down 29 points, and you're like, I cannot believe I paid this amount of money to get in here, and this is what's happening in this game. What a disaster. But you stay, and you get rewarded with that. Like last night, if I spend $800 at the last minute, go, you know what? On a whim, I'm going, and it's like 0-0. Messi leaves in the 30th minute because he's kind of hobbled a little bit. It's like, oh, I was there. That was cool. But it became like a must-have attended event that you'll talk about forever because of the hat trick on the pitch. But that's what allows you to have the, if I had a do-over, I would do that. I didn't know 2014 wild card was going to be as amazing as it was, or I would have done whatever it took to drive here and go to that game.
Yeah, because I drove back from college for that wild card game.
Bragger.
I went back.
You live college is 5 minutes away compared to where I was living.
2 hours, yeah. It's about 25%.
I lived 8 hours.
It's 25%.
It's 5 minutes.
So I had two that I think were the most realistic for me. The Mizzou KU at Arrowhead.
Armageddon.
I believe I went the next year when Missouri lost.
They had the Bumblebee jerseys.
I think
so
that was 08.
Whatever the Bumblebee jerseys when Kerry
Missouri.
Meyer had the winning catch was brutal.
I think I went
because you wore the
twice.
Bumblebee jerseys and you lost.
I also went once and they had Brad Smith. I remember that a lot. That
was that in Arrowhead too?
I can't remember. That was Arrowhead or Lawrence. That may have been in Lawrence actually.
I don't think they're playing in Arrowhead.
I think that was in Lawrence. Mizzou lost that one too. I remember that one. I was really young for that one. But also the one I had a chance for slightly was 08 U.S. Open. That was, I walked Torrey Pines with my family. We were out there and we're like, oh my gosh, U.S. Open's here. We might as well go walk Torrey Pines. Maybe on like a Monday or Tuesday of the tournament. And that was the one where Tiger won on one leg. That was the one when he had the.
What year was that, Tim?
08.
That was 08?
That was the 08 U.S.
God,
So I still have the Torrey Pines 08 hat. But yeah, so Tiger won, but that was also the Rocco Mediate playoff where they played 18 holes.
The next day.
They tied, and then they had to have a sudden death playoff the next day.
Yeah.
So that was, to me, one of those crazy events. I think we all look back in the golf world of that 08 U.S. Open, the Tiger story. Rocco Mediate right there was such a cool story.
Great name.
And I had a slight chance. I mean, I was there.
Yeah.
Just didn't obviously go to the.
It's weird. I did not have that on my list, so I know you say that we all, would have loved it. That wasn't on my list, so I'm not in the all group.
That's also
with
05
you.
Masters would have been electric.
I wanted to be like the 13-second game. Has come up a lot with the Chiefs and the Bills to be there in that game. And Game 6 ALCS against the Blue Jays in 2015 with the Lorenzo Cain scoring from first and then capping off and going to the World Series again. That was at Kauffman Stadium. That one's come up a lot. Game 1 of the World Series against the Mets with Gordo. His home run has come up a couple of times. But for me, it's the wild card game because, I could have come back for that and gone to the wild card game. I came back for Game 2 of the World Series later on, that year after they swept the Orioles and swept the Angels and swept the Orioles. Came back for Game 2 of the World Series, so I easily could have been like, you know what, I'm going to the game. It's first playoff game in 30 years. I'm going to go and I'm going to be there for that game. But I didn't go. Watched it by myself and thoroughly enjoyed it. But my God, I would love a do-over on getting to that game. It was
100%.
Unbelievable, man.
I missed that game while I was working at the station for that game, but
just like Messi's hat trick. Look at you,
yes,
such a hard worker.
I was at the Astros comeback in Houston for that one, so I feel like those two kind of balance each other out.
Oh, that would have been a great one to be at, man. Oh my goodness, yeah. That would have been awesome. Just probably hearing a pin drop in that eighth inning.
Yeah, I mean that was. And the governor had already tweeted, and like you're lining up early for the Royals because they're going to right to their locker room. You get them, they're lost the series and everything. And all of a sudden, the mood changes.
God, what an amazing one. Michael had which game would you have wanted to go to, Michael? Armageddon Arrowhead to watch a good
to say that.
program?
No, it was actually the 2012 Border War at Allen Fieldhouse. That one.
The one where Phil Pressey was sent to the hospital?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure we're talking about the same one.
Even Wimby would have got called for a flagrant on that one.
Wimby would have got upgraded to a flagrant on that. And then skipped the press conference. See you guys never. Is what would have happened. Oh, my goodness, man. But just how cool yesterday was. Like, Jameis Winston's walking around with an actual goat at the Power and Light District and just enjoying that and just Kansas City being the center
is he
of that.
part of the Fox team where they're just sending him to a lot of different places?
Yeah,
okay.
because he did
been
the
picking up trash with the Japanese fans.
He did the
brought
Orange
actual
March.
goat to Kansas City.
Right, he did the Orange March with the Dutch before they then picked up trash with the Japanese
Whose goat
fans.
do you think that is? There's like a random farmer around here.
I did a story. There's a goat farm at Deanna Rose.
Oh, probably.
And when, for Super Bowl 55, I went out and did a story on who the GOAT is, Brady or Mahomes. And we had a lot of fun. And so they had just had a huge litter of goats, and they named them all after Chiefs players. And so
goats can be kind of mean, though, too. They can get a little feisty.
Can't they spit at you?
Well, they
llamas can.
Llamas, that's what I'm thinking of.
They can ram you
llama.
with their heads.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they're an animal. They can protect themselves.
Yeah.
So I've never met a rabid goat, though.
I've never met an animal that didn't have some sort of a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Typically, everyone has it.
Pandas.
In some
Bears can get you, too.
Pandas.
Oh, pandas can mess you up.
Pandas can?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Dude,
no,
they would tear you from limb to limb.
They would tear you from limb to limb.
I mean, come on, dude. The panda went crazy.
Panda.
The panda went panda on them. Come on,
no, pandas aren't dangerous.
They know kung fu.
Why do they have them in cages and behind stuff at zoos?
Pandas.
Yeah, why don't they just have them walking around with the commoners? Just have them in Gen Pop with everybody else at the zoo. Why can't they do
Horses
that?
can mess you up, too.
They can.
Okay, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, it's a bear.
Giant pandas are famously docile and largely avoid humans.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
they're still wild animals.
Yes.
And can be highly dangerous when provoked, cornered, or defending their cubs. Well, I'm just not going to
Well, your definition of provoking might not be their definition of
I'm just going to pet it. I just want to pet that dog. I just want to go up and pet that dog.
You know what? Go do it. Go see a panda in nature. Go do it.
They apparently have a crushing bite force. It's one of the highest bite forces relative to their body size.
I mean, they are
among all bears.
They are a bear.
Helping
their physical strength. They have a powerful forelimb and a sharp, retractable claw.
They're looking at your legs and be like, "That's bamboo."
Which is what his
bamboo.
nickname for his legs were back in the day. You mentioned the Netherlands and the Orange March. We talked about it earlier because on the 25th, so a week from tomorrow, we're going to be broadcasting from FIFA Fan Fest downtown. And obviously we're on from 10 to 2. At 12:15 is when the Orange March starts from Power and Light down to FanFest next Thursday, the 25th.
Oh, maybe I should bring me on.
Yeah, the pre-party is starting at 11. The pre-party gathering at Power and Light at 11, and then the march starts, I believe, just down Grand. Up to the Fan Fest starts at like 12:15, which is a sight to see. If you've seen the videos of their march to Jerry Jones Dome, that's the actual stadium. They're not going to be able to shut down I-70 for the Orange March to the stadium there, but that'll be starting at just after noon on Thursday for the Orange March with the Dutch, which is pretty awesome. It's one of the cool World Cup traditions that takes place. And it'll be right here again in our backyard. We get to enjoy Messi's hat trick and then one of the cool World Cup traditions of the Netherlands Orange March before their matches.
So that's cool and all, but I found the top 5 safest animals.
Oh, okay.
Manatee.
Daddy long legs.
Manatee. Manatees, sea cows, they're very,
But if you're in their environment, you're already kind of unsafe.
I feel like you can get away,
but
though.
no, they're very safe. Capybaras.
Okay.
Very safe.
Is that a drink at Starbucks?
They incredibly docile and sociable. They're very peaceful with other species and humans. By the way, I think they actually you've seen videos of them with like gators and stuff. They're just like, hey, we don't mess with each other. We're tight.
How long is this list?
There's 3 more. Okay. The red panda. So I wasn't that far off. I did say a panda. I didn't say it was red.
Whatever gets you to saying you're right.
But they're from the Himalayas. Okay, they're
that makes sense. Yeah.
Aggressive.
Typically, Himalayans are very
red
docile.
panda movie.
Yep.
Red Panda is the lady who does the halftime shows.
Yep, that's right. The other
sloths.
panda knows kung fu.
Sloths.
Oh yeah, you can get away. You can typically win that race.
They're entirely harmless to humans. It says.
Yeah, because if you get caught by that,
get you.
Yeah. But you see it coming from a long time away.
Slow-mo.
It would.
And then
it
shockingly,
would be an immobile baby that would be caught by a sloth. That's it.
A great white shark.
Shockingly, manta rays.
Yeah.
No barbs. They're not. They're anti-stingrays. Like stingrays, like the evil villain of them, and manta rays are like, hey, what's up?
What's up?
We're just the friendly boys.
It's like it's a plastic sword on my back. It's a prop. It's a prop sword.
No Google me. You might want to look me up sometime, Barbara.
Cool. I rode the streetcar for the first time yesterday because
that was the first time you've ever rode the streetcar.
I've never had a need. I'm a suburban kid.
And you live and you work all the time right down there by the streetcar.
I have a vehicle too.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I don't fully understand it still, but I came around on it yesterday.
I don't understand how this works.
Because they told me where the media parking was, and it was nowhere near. It's the old Blue Cross Blue Shields building, and it is a walk up a big old hill to get Fan Fest from there. So we had other people doing it, and I was like, I'm going to do it too. I'm taking the streetcar from UMKC on the Plaza to up to World War I Museum. And so the funny thing is, I've never ridden it. So I'm there, and there's just a crush of Argentinian fans on the Plaza, right? And so I turn and ask somebody, I'm like, so does this take us to Fan Fest? And this guy in broken English speaks to me. It's like, yes, it's right up here. I'm like, I just asked an Argentine native, and I worked 2 blocks, so I walked from work about public transportation in my own town. And so then a streetcar worker came up, and he's like, yeah, so this is going to take you up to the World War I Museum. So it's great. There's a Liberty Memorial there. It overlooks the city and all that. I'm like, slow down. I live here. And I've lived here for 25 years. I just have never ridden the streetcar. So I'm the village idiot.
So hold on. That's a memorial there? So that whole thing with the torch at the top, this whole time, that's a memorial for something?
Yeah.
I have driven by that thing 1,000 times. So wait a minute. Unions, that's where you get trains. You can catch it. Wow. The odds of that.
40 minutes it took me from the Plaza, walking from
KSHB.
KSHB, which was about a 10-minute walk to the UMKC stop on the streetcar, all the way to walking in to my spot in FanFest was just under 40 minutes.
Not bad.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you're on the streetcar for 15, 20 minutes of that tops.
And you got to enjoy being on a streetcar.
With all the Argentinian fans. I love that they wear the same. They all wear the striped white and baby blue or sky blue jerseys. Yeah. It's a
Sterling and I wore
our kit. You got them on today.
Our shirts today in honor
baby blue
of the Argent. And you wore the white. So now it would be, Michael's got white on. You've got white on. Sterling and I have blue on. So we did that on purpose, I think. Did we? Yep. Portugal is tied 1-1 with Ghana. And Portugal jumped out early 1-0. And then the equalizer from Ghana made it 1-1. So there you go. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone right after this. Well, I'll tell you about my friends over at Kalshi, the largest prediction market, because the biggest soccer tournament in the world has arrived, and you can trade the entire tournament on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. And I told you before the match started that the Portugal and Congo game is taking place, and the tie was trading at like 10%. It's now trading at 41%. If you got in early on that market, you'd be making a lot of money right now, and you can go ahead and sell your position on that particular market, because that's the great thing about Kalshi. You're trading against peers in a live market. There is no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Maybe you want to buy in on Portugal right now at 49%. That's what they're trading at. A goal away, and that thing is going to skyrocket. And then you can trade out if you want to do that. And that's what's taking place on Kalshi. We got Ecuador and Curacao coming to town. You can trade on any sports market that's out there, essentially pop culture, politics. It's all at Kalshi. And for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code JASON810 to get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi, Kalshi. Kalshi, trade the beautiful game.
18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer hanging out with us here on Sports Radio 810. The College World Series taking place in Omaha currently as well, North Carolina and West Virginia. West Virginia needing to knock off North Carolina twice to make it to the championship series. North Carolina just needs one win over the next 2 games to get there. And later on tonight, Oklahoma and Georgia, an SEC showdown. Oklahoma, Georgia, and Oklahoma just needs one win. Georgia's got to win today and win tomorrow to make it to the championship series, which starts on Saturday.
Go Dogs!
So yes, if North Carolina and Oklahoma win today, there will be a 2-day. There'll be 2 days off tomorrow and Friday before they get another College World Series game going on in Omaha. So. West Virginia currently trailing 2-1 to North Carolina as Georgia beat Texas last night 2-0. And one of the crazier things happened. There was one player for Texas last night, or for Georgia, excuse me, that was involved in 3 replays in his same trip around the bases.
Oh, wow.
Did you see this? So it was
It
was a little blooper into right field. And the Texas center fielder comes in, slides, catches the ball clean. As he's rolling around, the ball sort of jostles. He's reaching up. It is a snow cone, so he still has it. And as his right shoulder hits again, the ball pops out. But it was in his glove for it was like 4 seconds, it felt like. It was there for a while. And they called it out on the field, and the umpire ruled that he had it long enough. He was actually reaching up and getting up when it fell out. It was in his glove, and it was in his glove long enough. It was almost like the exchange, only didn't reach in for the exchange. So, Georgia goes and challenges. They deemed that it actually was not a catch, that there was too much of the ball jostling around, and then it did pause at a snow cone, but then hitting the ground again, it fell out. They called him safe. Okay. He ends up at third. There is a short fly ball into left field, and the shortstop is doing a little Bobby Witt toward the third base line, and the left fielder is charging in, and the shortstop starts fading back. He's calling it. The left fielder is calling it. They go to catch it. They collide. The shortstop still makes the catch, but because of the collision, even in short left, the guy on third tags up and takes off. Same guy. Close play at home. He's called out at home, or he's called safe at home. Texas challenges the out call. They challenge the play at home. That the tag. The Texas catcher had it in time, went to go tag him, just missed the tag, went to the left of the base, and the guy's left arm slides in right on home plate, and he tags dirt. Just missed it. So if you can imagine the guy sliding in with his left hand, the catcher has his glove in his left hand, and he goes to place it on home plate, only he misses home and places it on the dirt while the Georgia guy's left arm slides over the plate. Just misses the tag totally. Yeah. But you're Texas, you're taking a chance. Maybe it slid by his arm, and he tagged him. So that challenge was unsuccessful.
That's just 2 so far.
Then they challenged if he left early.
Yeah. There's
from third base. He got challenged 3 times. All of them were in his favor. He won each time. The same trip around the bases, 3 different challenges with the same player. That's
pretty good.
And he scored. They end up winning 2-1. The only thing better would have been if that was the only run of the game, if they won 1-0. That would have been phenomenal if that was the only run. Yes, 1-0. Because also, believe Texas.
After full time, 9 innings.
That's right.
Georgia won.
They did add extra outs. So a little extra outs to the time there. But it was Texas, so bleep them. So that was cool.
All good with that.
Yes, I'm good anytime Texas loses. Because you know what they say, the worst season of Missouri is better than any of the best seasons of Texas. That's what I've always said.
Who says that?
I say that.
Yeah, the kids are saying it.
The new kids
it's in the streets.
The kids that know ball. The kids that know ball.
Sterling.
Ball knower.
Let's hear from Jeremy Fowler. He knows ball. He was on with A New Day this morning, and we saw the video of Rashee Rice showing off his healthy knee in running away from defenders.
Lead foot.
That's right. And then the
speeding away,
the revving of the engine as it sped away. Not the best look for him, although he wasn't driving this time, so that's good.
Oh, it wasn't him?
No, he jumped in the back of the SUV. But here's Jeremy Fowler with the latest on the injury, the rehab, and a potential suspension for Rashee Rice.
The Rashee Rice situation is pretty simple. He had to rehab the injury while he was in jail. He had the knee surgery shortly before he went in. And, he had it not thinking he was going to jail. And so it created an interesting dynamic because he was worried about a knee infection or, he can't rehab like he normally would or be under a doctor's supervision, because he really had to just makeshift his rehab in there. So I was told he did. He tried as best he could, or, he had some spaces where he could do some individual workouts a little bit where he had time running around on it. And he got out of jail without any issues on the knee. So that was really the most important thing, I would say, for him from just a pure football standpoint. And so now he will continue to rehab the knee between now and training camp, where he expects to be pretty much full go, ready to go for camp. I'm told that he is hopeful that because his case was pre-existing and that the NFL has already suspended him for it, that will be the end of it. We don't know for sure how the league's going to handle that. Certainly they review all of these matters. But right now, another suspension is not really firmly on the radar at the moment. We'll see how the league handles it. But I think Rice's hope is because he's already done everything he needed to, outside of getting popped for this last marijuana issue. But other than that, he was on the right track. That the Chiefs were comfortable with how he had responded and, doing everything he needed to from a legal standpoint and taking the classes and the community service. And, he was on the up and up until that point where he failed the test. So, he's hopeful because of that this will allow him to move forward and not be suspended, and we'll see how it goes.
There's multiple times with Rashee Rice that it's been, well, he's been this outside of that. So like his lawyers, like, since the wreck happened, he has done everything in working with law enforcement.
Yeah.
Since he left the scene of the crime, he has done everything to help out law enforcement. Well, he did everything he was supposed to do in the probation. Until this, outside of this thing, until this happened, he had done everything for 8 months of what he was supposed to do for 5 years. So until this, there's always that. Outside of this one thing, he's been really, really
always
good.
People that, man, if you're athletic, always people there ready to make excuses for you.
Yeah.
Also, how was he unprepared to have like a 10-second speech for when he got out of jail?
You knew that people were going to be there when you got out of jail. Would you have been running with Rashee Rice, Mick? Or had Matt or McKenzie be like, hey, go, there's door, as we heard on the video.
If that's my assignment, yeah. I mean, look, I'm assuming public property, and that's the deal. It's not the only person who's had, the perp walk there, or the reverse perp walk leaving the jailhouse, and people get that's how it works.
Yeah.
When criminals of high profile are released, and so that's people got mad about that. I'm like, that's nothing new. I couldn't tell if that was local TV stations or that was more of the blogger TMZ types there. But yeah, that's going to happen when you're a high profile guy and you go to jail and you're released, and people know when you're going to be released and where at, and that's public property. So I guess I would have jogged there. Would not have been able to keep up. Would have been a bad deal had I been able to keep up to him with a camera in my hand. Yeah,
he didn't gain as much separation as I think he should have on that route. Mahomes would have still found him, and he'd have caught.
But again, to defend him in this, right? I mean, he has nothing he owes to people at that point, right? Now maybe to his team, and when his team says, "Hey, we're throwing you out in front of the media here. It's time for a mea culpa. You need to explain this, this, and this," and so then he's got an obligation to his employer. But at that point, he doesn't have to make any sort of speech or anything like that.
No, I'm with you. He doesn't owe anything. It just would have been a layup as far as a good point, as far as like, hey, guys, I appreciate it. I know you're here doing your job, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'll have a longer conversation for you guys later on. Appreciate it.
Yeah. It doesn't lend itself to this, this guy's going to face the music, him just kind of running.
Walking backwards first was odd.
Walking backwards.
He moonwalked before he ran.
How's this going to work?
Like, you legit could have had like a 10-second, like his lawyer didn't say, hey, there's going to be people here.
Yeah.
Just give a 10-second canned speech of, hey, I'm not going to talk about it right now with the law. You can even set the law process and be like, oh, okay.
Can't talk about an ongoing case. Looking forward to being back with the Chiefs. But, I got no comment, guys. Hey, how's the knee, Rashee? Feels good. Feels fine. Look, I'm going to run a little bit. I'll run and cut for you. It's all good.
Like, that's what normal, logical, accountable
Yeah.
people would do, but he's not that.
Yeah.
I just feel like that would have
And
been
it's not a surprise,
to get.
but it's not a. You can't walk out of that door and be like, oh my God, there's cameras there.
Yeah.
You knew people had been, June 16th, they knew he was getting out of jail. The least surprising thing is that when he came out of jail, there were cameras waiting for him, that he was going to be there.
That went
he
fast,
said
by
that
the
all
way.
the time.
I was like, wow, it's already time for him to leave. I'm sure it did not go fast for him.
Rashid, did that fly by? I bet that.
Felt like only a couple weeks to me. What did it feel like to you?
Right? Rashid, were you keeping track of minicamp? What do you think of Cyrus Allen, Rashid? Do you think Jalen Royals is ready to go? Xavier Worthy looks yoked.
Chad O'Shea, got any impressions so far from afar?
Hey, we've been asking everybody what it's like to have Eric Bieniemy back.
When does Rick Burkholder sound through the phone?
How was the trip to the hospital? Are you going to Kelsey and Taylor's wedding?
Do we know yet if he gets popped again for marijuana or alcohol or anything else that is, deemed
against
prohibited
violation?
against probation?
I don't know
what
what
his next
happens
punishment
then.
would be.
I don't know if they just completely dissolve the initial
I would guess
probation
not.
and
I
penalty.
would guess not. Like, you're on probation for 5 years. Unless you mess up once, then you have to pay for it, but then you're done.
The thing is, though, as far as I understand it, you can't retry the case. So if he does this, I mean, it gets to a point to where the judge can simply rip up the plea deal and say, well, you've already pled guilty to this, this, and this, and those things have a 2 to 5 year or 2 to 10 year jail sentence, and so I'm going to sentence you to the minimum here. I think that might be the extreme to get there, but he's already on that path. We'll take a timeout, come back, more Zone next.